Hello, everybody. This is James Hsu bringing to you another Magic Online Legacy League. Today I am joined by Rich Cali. Hello, Rich.
Hi, how's it going?
Not too bad. I'm excited to run through this with one of the premier masters of Rug Delver and Legacy. So, can you tell the two people that have not heard your name in Legacy, like a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, it's definitely weird to frame it like that. But yeah, I'm a Legacy lover. I've been playing Legacy for years. Recently, I kind of switched into playing Delver almost exclusively at this point. I realized that attacking with creatures was really nice, as opposed to my general tendency to do nothing and win the game with miracles eventually. So um, I've been kind of really focused on this, and I just love Magic and love playing Legacy and talking about it and all that stuff. So
Excellent. And today we're going to be running a list that is, I guess, partially your doing, but also partially Bob Huang's modification. Do you want to just set us up just in terms of talking about the 75 for Rug Delver?
yeah, so a lot of this is actually based on some of the Japanese players' developments with the deck. At Wakarak on Twitter and Sylvia Wataru. Both have been working on this archetype for a really long time, and both of them prefer to have large numbers of Dreadhorde Organist in their deck, which is kind of it's a different approach than playing larger numbers of Tarmogoyf. It gives you the ability to match any kind of card advantage that somebody's going to provide, like present against you, very evenly. It's a threat that, although fragile, it has to die, and it allows you a lot to get a lot of advantage over the course of the game. It's one of the things that comes along with Dreadhorde Organist is an increased number of cantrips. At certain points of over the past few months, I've thought of playing the cantrips as a bit of a cost, but it's been pretty much demonstrated to me time and time again that having more cantrips in your deck isn't really a cost, it's almost a benefit. So the fact that Dreadhorde Arcanist pushes you towards that is kind of a feature of the deck as opposed to a symptom. The other alternative would be that people have been doing these days has been playing for Tarmogoyfs and Stifles, which I played that. It's totally fine. It works. It's just a different approach to the deck.
Mm-hmm. Do you how what are your views on Stifle versus not? Because I feel like Stifle can sometimes be like a 10 out of 10 card, but it also has a very low floor depending on whether you're on the play, the draw, or how the matchups go. So is this build sort of quote unquote more consistent, or is it just, or should I be looking at it differently?
I think it's a fair way to view it. Stifle, you're definitely right. It's a high ceiling, low floor kind of card. That's not only dependent on matchups; it's dependent on your opponents. Some people don't play around Stifle; they don't respect it very well, so you can get a lot of equity and just kind of steal a win off of that. But if your opponent expects it, knows you have it, plays around it, the card loses a lot of value. Um, that being said, it is still very good, especially in the Delver mirrors. It's very good at preserving your own mana base from wastelands and denying their ability to play the game overall. And the fact that that coincides with increased number of Tarmogoyfs is even more beneficial because Tarmogoyf is really good in the mirror. That's one of the best cards you could possibly have in the mirror. So that version is better in the mirror, but you get a lot more um, as you said, consistency with the increased number of cantrips. You get to play your spells on curve a little bit better. Stifle can sometimes be awkward, where you want to hold back your Delvers, you want to hold back your Tomboys in order to get value out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, then sometimes you lose that value. So there's a lot of personal preference. There's a lot of metagame representation that goes into it. But in general, I prefer this approach. Plus, I like the reduced reliance on green cards that cost green mana.
Mm-hmm.
So this essentially plays out just like a blue-red deck that's splashing green for Oko and Hooting mana. So
Yeah, yeah. Someone who's played Blue Red Delver quite a bit, I I definitely see that appeal. Like you're playing the best green cards essentially, and also Veil
Yeah.
and Library are no slouch in that department. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, Rich, just because you're so proficient with the deck, is it makes a lot of sense, especially in a deck that maxes out on Arcanist, to also run six force effects, like the two force negations, because it really facilitates between Arcanist, Oko, and Daze, like kind of a tap out approach. I would call it. Like you're pretty safe to tap out, and you're pretty good against a lot of combo decks. I see that we're running like two surgicals. We don't really need to run like, for example, four Grave Hate cards versus Reanimator, because we're just gonna try to counter disrupt them with our counter magic. But I find it interesting that in builds like this, that we're trying to run two Spell Pierce. They almost seem to me like there's a little bit of redundancy between the Force of Negations and the Spell Pierce. So how do you feel about that approach?
I think that's a fair way to frame it. There have been a lot of deck lists I've had over the past few weeks and months that play the force negations and pair them with spell snares because it gives you a little bit more diversity. But at the same time, Legacy is still a spell format. It's very rare that spell pierce and force negation are completely dead. Even when they are, they still pitch to force of will, which is reasonable. And just having the ability to disrupt uh, cards. So spell snare is just one of those cards that it's a lot like Stifle. Like it can be really good. It can be the single best card in your deck in certain contexts, and it can
Mhm.
also just have no effect whatsoever. While Spell Pierce is a lot more versatile, but sometimes isn't going to hit the things that really matter or scale well into the late game. Um, I think that Spell Pierce right now is pretty well positioned enough to pair it with Force Negation because there are a lot of Opos running around. There's a lot of combo running around in this field, and not all the combo um, relies on two mana spells. So Spell Pierce does give you a lot of extra disruption in that means, and plus this deck doesn't run that many threats. I mean, it has the three Opos, so essentially it's like 13 threats, but um, you do want to protect your creatures a decent amount. Dreadnought Alchemist is, of course, worth protecting. Hooting Mandrills works well with Spell Pierce because if you're going to protect it from, a Planeswalker, you can play Hooting Mandrills for one mana and then hold up the mana. So
Mhm.
uh, it definitely depends on what you're expecting. And there's nothing wrong with playing up to two spell snares over the spell pierces, especially with the fourth negations. But I think this is a pretty comfortable place to be.
Nice. Okay, and do you want to talk about the sideboard a little bit? Just some of the choices. I think I would call this the kind of like the Rich Cali special, because like you do tend to run things that I don't see a lot of other Delver pilots run. Like for example, the Abrade Ancient Grudge split. There's things in here. I don't know if you want to go through it a little bit.
Sure. I generally like versatility a lot in my sideboard decisions. I think Ancient Grudge is more of a hammer. When it's good, it's going to crush, but sometimes it doesn't really do anything. And a Braid gives you the ability to do something kind of okay in a bad way, but it does it it's modal. So that's really useful. I like rough tumble right now because I think a lot of decks are moving away from X1s and a little bit further towards relying on like X2s. Elves, plays Elvish Reclaimer and Elvish Reclaimer over. Well, I guess maybe they're just replacing like Nettle Sentinel these days with that.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, hitting Elvish Reclaimer is kind of important. Goblins has been a real force to be reckoned with, and they they're not entirely relying on X1s. They play a decent amount of X2s. Um, so I like that card a decent amount. I also generally like a diverse suite of cards that are good against the various control decks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I have Clothis, Winter Orb, and Sylvan Library. Um, I don't really like doubling up on any of those effects because they don't really work particularly well in multiples.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in fact, they don't work at all in multiples. But they are the mix of them allows you to form kind of different game plans based on how things are going to play out, and they're going to be good in different situations. So I kind of like a mix of those kind of cards. I think right now I haven't seen that much snow over the past few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
so I would say that one of these cards, maybe the closest, might not be absolutely essential, but it is a really good card against the various snow decks. So I think it's worth having. Um, Three Pyroblast. That's kind of the lowest number I would go on that. Four is might even be okay. Might be better to just have four instead of a closest right now. But
Yeah.
closest also does do something in the mirror match, so that's worth considering. And then Veil of Summer is a big pull to green, I think, and I know that generally I tend to run one, and it's weird to say that you're getting pulled to green for a card you're only running one of. But I think just the ability to represent it, the ability to draw into it, it adds a lot against, especially Storm. I think Storm is one of those decks that I tend to have a little bit of trouble against because they can really play around a lot of the counter magic really well.
Mm-hmm.
And Veil Summer just gives you an entirely new access to play on. And then Vapor Stack Submerge, they're both just reasonably versatile cards. Like Submerge is so good against in the mirror. They add the Mirage tokens. So just some normal blue bounce stuff that largely feels replaceable with other cards. Like could be two Vapor Snacks, could be two Submerges, could be something else. So
One thing that I'm really curious about, and you had mentioned this card in your min max article for Rug Delver, is it seems like Brazen Borrower has just sort of fallen off the map. Like, can you talk about why that is, and maybe why it's not as good for the metagame as it is right now?
So Brazen Borrower is great. It really is a very good versatile card, but it's an awkward sideboard card because it's not necessarily a haymaker in a lot of situations. And while I'm discussing my preference towards having cards that are versatile in my sideboard, I think having cards that Brazen Borrower is versatile in the way that it's kind of underpowered, but it's going to do a lot of different things, and it makes a lot more sense as a card in the main deck.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. It's very difficult to find a space in this deck's main deck to fit it in because this deck is pretty lean.
Mm-hmm.
Oko also gives you a lot of answers to things Brazen Borrower gives you answers to.
Right.
So you're kind of already dedicating that space to another card, and finding space for it'd be like sideboarding a Vindicate in a way, which is like, okay, sure, you're gonna bring that in like half your matchups, but you're not gonna have a card that's particularly great in any of those matchups. So all the cards in the sideboard generally tend to be like a cut above like a Vindicate style card.
Yeah.
They're better when they come in, and maybe some of them like a Braid are still versatile, but like let's say hypothetically I could play Vindicate in this deck. I'd still have a Braid over Vindicate because Vindicate it does answer more. You're making yourself more diverse. It just doesn't really make sense as a sideboard card. So, and that's why I don't tend to sideboard Brazen Borrower that often. I do sometimes when I'm like, I really don't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. I just want to be able to bounce a wide range of things. I want something I can bring in. Sometimes it just fits the numbers of my deck really well. But generally, I tend to lean away from that, especially now because the metagames seems to be converging and being a little bit more lean. There's a lot more Rug Delver than there was a month ago, so you can kind of predict a little bit better.
Yeah, pun intended. You want your sideboard cards to be a bit more surgical, right? Like when they come in, they have a very specific purpose. I would say that also Brazen Borrower doesn't do almost anything against the snow decks. Like there's nothing that you want to bounce. Like if you bounce their Coatos, they're going to rebuy. You bounce their Euro, it just gives them more value. So I saw sort of Brazen Borrower as like potentially a flex in the main instead of like the second Force of Negation or the third Oko. But I guess that's sort of like the meta is kind of just converged on let's just run these more consistent cards, perhaps.
Yeah, it is really hard to justify playing anything over extra Okos.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good card. I remember when Companion came out and Loris was everywhere.
Yeah, I remember that
My
too.
initial take, and my take even beyond that, was that yeah, Companions are broken, but so is Oko. So if you're just wanting to play Oko, and it's funny because when Loris was almost certainly going to get banned in the week leading up to that, I was like, okay, let me get some reps back in with Rugdelva because I played a lot of Grixis during
Yeah,
that
me
era.
too. I was playing Rug Delver in that last week or two
Yeah,
too.
and I was doing so well with Rug Delver. I was doing almost as well with Rug Delver as I was with Lotus Delver
Hmm.
because these cards are just still so good. I mean, Oko is just absurd. I mean, Lotus could take over the game, and it did it really consistently. But man, Oko was just so powerful, and it really hasn't changed. It's the first thing I've just had three Okos in all of my lists that I've
Yeah,
played with Rug Delver in the past, 3 months or whatever.
yeah.
So.
No, it makes sense. Like the virtual card advantage is just sometimes just better than raw card
Mm-hmm.
advantage, right? For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really appreciate this intro. Sorry if it was a little bit longer than
Oh, yeah, it's more me. I can't stop talking about legacy. So
No, I love this stuff because I'm still very much a scrub, but I really enjoy talking about the permutations of Delver decks. Okay, so we've got your list here, or we should say
all right,
yours
cool.
and Bob's hybrid list. So
Yeah,
let's get in here. All right. Yeah, we got about consistently about 320 something players
yeah,
recently.
that's what it seemed like. It was a little bit lower last week, and now it's kind of gotten back to the 300 to 350
Yeah.
number, which is pretty good.
I'm just glad that the challenges are firing. Like I've heard not good things about certain other formats like Pioneer, where it's just like I don't know, a ghost town or something. At least
Yeah,
with the leagues, like for Legacy, you're seeing like over 300 consistently all times of the day. Like even during Asia time, like you're seeing, or early
definitely.
AM in the US, like you're seeing that. So it's good.
Yeah, it's a really dedicated community. Like Legacy, so Pioneer, and maybe some of the other formats. People do really like those formats, and they really care about those formats. But Legacy seems to have a lot of people that are just completely committed to it and basically nothing else. So Magic Online gives them a really nice way to use that desire to play. So I generally find I see a lot of the same people all the time.
Yeah.
I don't. It's very rare I see somebody that I'm like, oh, I've never ever seen that person playing. So
Right.
I think maybe now people are starting to get into it even a little bit more, especially with the whole quarantine situation. But I think Legacy is honestly pretty good right now. I think there's some perception that it's, I think there's some perception based on the way it was. I think Snow was kind of a little bit of a blight with how represented it was because it wasn't really fun to play against,
Mhm.
and a lot of the games played out in the same way. But that these days, I haven't really found that to be the case, and this current legacy feels pretty good. It feels like a pretty, a pretty decent legacy format.
Yeah, there was a. I don't know if you read it, but there was a recent article by Joseph Dyer, This Week in Legacy, where he talked to a bunch of the legacy grinders to get their thoughts on the metagame. I don't know if you have you seen that one?
I saw it. I didn't have a chance to read it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, let's just see if I can find it. Yeah, we can cut this part out of the recording. I have no idea why it's actually taking so long. It's like we're saying like 300 players, but I guess here we go.
Oh, there we go.
All right. All right, Goblin Lackey. All right,
Yes, here we
100% on
go.
goblins. So Eli and
No
I were
question.
just talking a few days ago about win rates. Uh, okay, knowing that our opponent's 100% on Goblin Lackey, how do we feel about this hand here? We're on the
I think this hand is good. It is risky, and the risk mostly comes to Goblin Lackey. Like if they have Cavern of Souls plus Goblin Lackey, we don't have an answer for that.
yeah,
And realistically, if we don't draw one, we'll probably lose. But we have the ability to stop Vile, which is the number one thing. I care about Vile much more than Goblin Lackey on average because Goblin Lackey dies and Vile really doesn't.
right.
So I would say this has that element going for it. It has a game plan we can work towards in Oko, and it also has a bunch of different cantrips to hopefully find an Alchemist or some kind of removal spell by the time that's going to matter. So I would say this hand is pretty decent.
Okay, let's see how it goes. We're probably gonna try to counter the Vile or the Lackey. Let's see. Oh,
Yep.
okay. Speak of the devil.
And there it is.
And there it is. Okay. All right. Okay. Second fetch land. That's a good thing at least. Let's see here.
Yeah, at least we'll have the ability to develop our mana if we don't just lose.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought process is we have to find Lightning Bolt ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
One hit from the Lackey, if they don't have Muxus, maybe we can survive. I can't fathom a world where we're going to survive 2 ways from it. So
yeah. So we're gonna go Volk Ponder because see the max number.
I would definitely do that. There's maybe some merit to holding up a fetch land and then brainstorming in the turn to preserve our mana base, but I think this is a lot better.
Okay. We found the bolt. So how do we want to stack this? They obviously don't play discard, so we probably. I mean, it's probably fine just to draw brainstorm, right? There's not much decision here.
So I would actually consider drawing the ponder instead of the brainstorm, because next turn we're probably going to, let's say hypothetically we don't just lose, we have to plan for that world. We're probably going to lightning bolt the Goblin Lackey, and then if we just fetch away one of the cards, because I don't think we want both of these cantrips because we already have a cantrip in hand. We're going to want to cast a card to lean into our Oko. And if we're going to plan to do that, we'd rather it be Ponder because then we'll have the option to shuffle it. So
yeah,
I would prefer to have the Ponder here. Plus, it also adds a little bit of diversity.
Sure. So brainstorm, bolt, ponder, basically, and then we'll. Okay. Yep. All right. Let's hope we don't die. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, if it's Muxus, I can't even imagine what.
I know if it's Muxus, it might just be very close to a concession here, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's incredible how much that card has improved goblins, which is great. I mean, I love goblins. That was my first legacy deck. So
yeah. I think Mr. Goblin Lackey here has said that in his testing, Muxus has been a lot more impactful than Conspicuous Snoop. I think Conspicuous Snoop was sort of initially thought to be the speak of the devil.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's technically a situation we can survive.
Yeah. That's that's actually kind of a brick. Yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting. We're probably gonna have to find. So let's see whenever it attacks, because So I guess we'll see what else they play here. Fort is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
We really needed that to just be all in on Cavern of Souls. I think this game's probably gonna be a little bit too tough. In fact, we're just short of dead, right? Because we're going to take 5, 10, 16, and we're going to have to fetch. We're going to go to 1. We don't really have an out. We can play out a few the next turn just for the sake of it, if you want. But being at 1, it's almost.
Yeah, I mean, if we had to bolt something, I guess we'd have to bolt the Lackey, right? The power drivers do massive damage, but they have pro blue too, which is insane. Yeah, maybe we can just probably just concede, right? There's not much we can do. Yeah. Let's just save some time.
We could kill the pile driver, and maybe they don't have another goblin to put in. But even then, we're still just taking 4 less damage. We'll be at 5 and still be facing down multiple.
I think the game was decided with the cavern and us being on the draw. Quite honestly, so. Okay, so let's see. Let me just think about the cards that we can potentially bring in here. So, Rough Tumble is one. I think Null Rod is potentially another one, although it's sort of marginal. I think we could consider these are all I'm cognizant of not overboarding versus Vile because sometimes that doesn't even matter. I think a Braid's a little bit better than Grudge just because it can kill a goblin. But how do you feel about the sideboarding plan here?
So generally, I don't bring in Nod, and I would bring in Ancient Grudge. That would be the only swap there, basically for the reason you said. Like, it runs you overboard against Vile. It can be pretty tough. Nod does answer it preemptively, which is nice, but um, Ancient Grudge answers two Vials. It also answers Chalice of the Void, which sometimes they bring in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely, I think it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more effective than Novod, even though Novod does just shut off the thing.
Yeah.
Plus, they also sometimes still keep in the Trash Masters, and Trash Master could make things a little bit awkward.
Yeah. 10th Street Hooligan, Trash Matter, they can have answers
Right.
for stuff. Maybe we can talk a bit about like cards that are not super impactful. To me, like Spell Pierce and Force Negation are probably not great cards to keep in this matchup.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, completely agreed. I think it's pretty easy to at least cut two Spell Pierces and one Force Negation, and
Mm-hmm.
then we can decide if maybe anything else is better. I could see on the play bringing in the Novod over the Force Negation just to have extra answers, because Force Negation is mostly going to answer um,
Mm-hmm.
the file. But at the same time, they also bring in what's it called, Pyrokinesis, which Force
Yes.
Negation does answer, but not at the most convenient time.
Yes.
So I could see leaving in one Force Negation, not bringing in Novod, and just bringing in the three red cards we initially
Okay.
discussed. I think that would be
Real quick,
fine.
how do we feel about Sylvan Library? Is it just like too slow for this matchup? They're just doing too much damage to us.
I generally think it's pretty difficult to tap out for something that's not going to impact the board in this matchup. It's
Mhm.
not necessarily that they're too fast, but it's difficult not to have an impact on a turn. Usually, we need to keep up with their cards. So the best way they win this matchup is mana advantage through Aether Vial and Goblin Lackey, um, mana denial, which also kind of goes along with mana advantage,
Right.
and the ability to grind through multiple creatures. This is great. Just to
Yeah. Sorry, I had to quickly submit. I have this paranoia
yeah.
about like
Oh
us
no, no,
running
no, that's okay.
out of timer. So this is a snap keep, and we're just gonna snap keep, and I'm just gonna make sure I
Yep.
don't accidentally.
Delver and hopefully day something.
Yeah. So we're gonna go Volk Delver. That's like sorry, Trop Delver. All right. This I think this hand sort of plays itself out, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, this is definitely a pretty straightforward hand for the first two turns.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see. But yeah, so generally they win the game through mana denial, mana advantage through Aether Vial, and the ability to outgrind as the game goes on. So the best way to fight through their ability to do that is mana denial. Hitting their Cavern of Souls with Wastelands is generally pretty good. Stick a threat that is difficult for them to answer. Oko is among them. Dreaded Darkness is also, it's not difficult necessarily, but it is not trivial.
Okay, so for this, I don't think we're gonna daze. We're just gonna bolt to next turn, right?
So
So we
that's
can cancel
reasonable. I think the only thing that might put a wrench in that is that days might not be reliable as the game goes on, because once they play a cavern, all of our dazes go off.
Right.
So if we don't daze here,
We lose
we
value.
might not be able to use it in the future, and Lightning Bolt's always going to be good. That being said, I agree with your assessment, because I think it's more important for us to start to develop our mana and our game plan, and we'll be able to cast days freely in the future time. So
Okay.
I agree with your assessment.
I'll let the lackey resolve, and let's see here. Okay, Wasteland was not the greatest draw, but it might come in. It makes our days more valuable later. So that
Definitely.
I think what we should do is we should probably fetch first before the ponder, just so we can make sure we flip the Delver, right?
I agree. Yeah, there's definitely some merit to pondering with the fetch land, but I think it's more likely that we're going to want to try to flip it over. So I agree with that.
Okay. it's always tough for me like doing these walkthroughs because I do have this bad tendency to sometimes like autopilot through something, so I might miss like
Yeah.
things where like you might have a better line. So I think what I need to do is ponder first.
Yes, so I definitely do that. Get maximum information before we make our decision.
Oh, that's actually pretty good. All right.
It is pretty good.
We
I agree.
basically draw Delver and Brainstorm is on the in the middle.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that is really
Which is
good.
pretty good.
We're going aggro mode today. Yeah.
It's a little
Um.
cold to pyrokinesis,
Yeah.
but I think it's worthwhile.
Well, there is an
And
interesting decision. Can we get greedy and actually play the second Delver and just go with that, or do you think that's too risky?
so that plays right into pyrokinesis,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be the worst case scenario for us anyway.
Yeah.
Um, I think pyrokinesis will be bad if it hits our flip delvers 2 turns from now. It'll be devastating if it hits our 2 delvers and then they get lucky.
Okay.
So I think it's a little bit too risky.
Okay. Let's go with
I
ABC
would offer the
play.
trade.
We're
I would
gonna.
offer the trade first
Oh, okay. Let's offer the trade, which
because
is
we would be happy to trade here because we have so many more delvers.
right.
I'm sure they won't, but
Oh, I think they're thinking about it.
yeah, I think like you were saying, sometimes you rush through decisions. Sometimes I tend to go too deep on the pushing past the decisions and forget
Yeah.
that we have a time frame where we
Yeah.
can do
Exactly.
things.
We
But
we
I'll
were
talk about
yeah
these
the
like
clock. Yeah.
I think these really small, minute decisions are really what matters a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the time. Like, choosing the fetch for you ponder, what land to get, what land to tap for the ponder in a different world.
Mm.
All of this stuff's really important to think about.
Yeah.
So I really like to go very, very far in depth in that. But again, timing is a thing. So
Honestly, I am more concerned with learning something today than to actually get a good result in the league because I think these decisions are interesting. But to your point, we need to sort of balance it because we can't spend like 10 minutes talking about everything
right.
unless there was like a. Okay, so okay, I guess we are bolting it then.
Yep, seems good.
Yeah.
One of the nice things about these days is that they will basically hit a chalice,
Yeah.
that could come up for the next 2 turns. So we'll at least get to have some insurance against that. We're not necessarily trading with it because we don't know if they have chalice or not, but we know that we're not going to lose to a chalice for at least 2 turns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if we try to do the double delver route and they just play a mountain and then pyrokinesis with 2 lands on tap, like basically they play around double days, so it would have
Yeah,
been like
totally.
really bad.
Yeah, definitely. And that is going to be bad for most of this game. I think if that happens, it will be a little bit difficult for us to claw back into it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll at least have some chance to do that if a lackey isn't also putting in a ringleader or anything.
Yeah.
I think just them being able to, because they could have hypothetically triple spelled that turn. Right? They could have gone pyrokinesis of creatures, play a creature, then lackey put in a creature. So essentially just getting so much meta advantage on us.
Yeah.
So
If they
this matchup's
actually
also
if they
generally a
actually
little
don't
tough
do
too, so.
anything this turn, let's say they just went like land go or land like tap out for some inconsequential goblin, like what do you think our next turn play would be? Are we gonna try to get like 3 delvers down, or are we gonna just go like delver, and then pass with brainstorm up?
I think we'll need to see if they play wastable land before we make that decision.
That's true.
I like the idea of playing at least one more delver here, but I want to know what we're going to do with our wasteland because I guess one of the awkward things with this delver is if we want the second delver to flip, we have to cast brainstorm because we know that the delver is secret on top. And
Right.
then we're not necessarily giving ourselves the ability to fetch anything away, and we could be locked into our play for the foreseeable future.
Now this is not even worth a daze, right? I feel like this is like, I mean,
So Mog War Marshal doesn't it doesn't do much in terms of applying pressure to us, but what it does do is it turns on their
it turns on their gem palm and it turns on their the
munition
other
expert.
munitions expert. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that could definitely be meaningful. And at the same time, again, we're not guaranteed to have value with the days as the game
yeah,
goes on.
yeah.
So I would actually consider, I would pretty strongly consider it
Okay, and what are we bouncing? We're bouncing the trop, right? Just to potentially
I
save
think
it.
so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Potentially protect ourselves from represent like an Oko or like represent that we might have a bolt or something.
Yep. I think so. Another thing I consider with which lands return is what do I want to fetch if I cast a brainstorm?
Right.
So if you're going to cast this brainstorm and we draw a fetch land, it's worth considering what land you're going to get. Now in this situation, it doesn't really matter because the card we're going to play is still going to be blue, so it doesn't really matter. But in the future, that's definitely something I'm really mindful of.
Okay, so what's our play this turn? We are gonna play Delver Secrets off the. It doesn't really matter. We can play Delver Secrets off the trop and just basically pass, right?
I think that's okay. We're pretty much committed to not transforming this Delver, but I think that's all right in this situation. We don't even know if these Delvers are going to survive because of pyrokinesis.
Exactly.
Our opponent's game plan kind of suggests to me that they do have pyrokinesis.
Yeah.
They kept a hand that isn't extremely impactful.
Oh, this is interesting.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about that, but now we have to consider if we want to brainstorm to try to spend $4.
Yeah, we can brainstorm on their end step though. We don't need to do anything right now, right? Just to conceal information because we don't.
If we're gonna do it, if we're gonna do it at the end step, we should do it now because we'll just get more information of what we want to do. So I think brainstorming here is just fine.
Yeah.
I'm still concerned with pyrokinesis. I'll basically always be concerned with pyrokinesis.
Okay, that's great. They didn't play a Wasteland and they're tapped out their ports, so we definitely can get the Arcanist down next turn. We can definitely. So here's the thing, right? We can hold up 1 days in our hand in case they are just baiting us with like another lackey or something. Although I guess it doesn't really matter at this point anymore if they have lackey or vial. So how do you feel about putting cards back? We obviously want to put back a daze to flip the Delver, but the other card farther down I'm debating.
So it comes a matter of determining what our game plan is. Let's say next turn we're probably gonna wasteland their port. We're probably gonna play Arcanist. And so that means what's the only card we don't really need in our hand? It's Delver Secrets. So I'd put Delver and then Daze. And then next turn we're going to play Arcanist, holding up double Daze, wasteland them, attack them for 6. And now our board is going to be 2 Delvers and a Dreadhorde Arcanist. So we'll have lethal on the following turn. So in 2 turns we have lethal. They didn't cast Pyrokinesis there, so they might just not have it, which is good.
Okay, so we're gonna actually waste. We're actually gonna waste their. Actually, we'll attack first. Yeah, let's do that first.
Yep, no reason to give them more information, and then we can fish out some information about what they have. I think if they had pyrokinesis, they would have cast it by now. So we can pretty much determine they don't have that.
So waste the port and play the Arcanist, right? And then we're.
Yep.
Okay, well, Goblins doesn't have.
So now I'm starting to think that their hand has at least one munitions expert or gem bomb incinerator in it. So. Yeah, I would just definitely wasteland an Arcanist, and we'll expect probably an Arcanist to die to the munitions expert. But if they haven't played a cavern yet, now that makes sense because I don't think they've had any creatures that really mattered that they need to resolve. Like the lackey, sure, it does matter, and they did need it to resolve in a way, but they kind of expected it to die by lightning bolt. So why expose their cavern souls?
Yep, there it goes.
Exactly what I would have expected.
Okay, that's not the end of the world. Yeah, that's not the end of the world. That stops our lethal, but
yeah, it also if they want to kill the Arcanist, they can't also kill a Delver.
Right.
So
let's first attack, right? We're gonna
we have to ask what we're gonna cast. I think it's probably right to cast Ponder, because then we can set up our Delver flip, and we'll still have the Lightning Bolt in our graveyard to shoot them next turn if they don't kill Arcanist. So all of our creatures will essentially represent.
But Arcanist is gonna die, right? Because they're gonna triple block the Arcanist. No.
Right, but they're probably going to kill one of the Delver secrets with the.
Oh, I see. So basically, put them to the test and make them do that. Okay.
Right, now they could just. So I guess that is an interesting point. Before we choose a spell, they could just double block the Arcanist if we don't cast Lightning Bolt, because then they don't have to kill a Delver. So then we're saying, okay, they can kill the Arcanist and kill a Delver of Secrets. They're just not going to be able to kill the Delver of Secrets without going to 2 first.
Right.
If we Lightning Bolt them, they have to kill a Delver. So we would be taking the choice away from them, which honestly sounds pretty decent. Because now they'll just block the Arcanist with the Crater Maker, shoot our thing, take 3 down to 5, and they're going to get Lightning Bolted down to 2. And then our board will still be Arcanist, Delver flipped, Delver unflipped, and that's a pretty good situation. So I would actually target Lightning Bolt here. Shoot.
And target them to the face?
Yep.
Okay.
I like that. Basically, we're just removing their ability to kill 2 of our creatures this turn.
Right.
They're going to be forced to
They're
kill.
forced to kill the Delver, so
Yep.
the Arcanist is basically living for sure, unless they have other shenanigans.
Okay, they do it before blockers, which feels like a misstep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they just missed out. Oh no, we have trample with Dread Arcanist.
Oh yeah. Okay, so then we just play Delver off the. I mean, we can represent a Bolt maybe, so we should play Delver off the Trop. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. I would play it off Volcanic because that's the land we want to get Wastelanded the least at this point. So it doesn't really matter, because if you just want to stop off Lightning Bolt, they'll do that.
Sure.
But generally, you if you have a Creeping Puppet and you're going to tap it for mana, you just kind of and some other land, you want to tap the Creeping Puppet, because then if they destroy it, then you'll be able to have an untapped mana.
Oh, okay. Well, this is that's
okay.
Okay. Well, we can't counter that.
Yeah. So if we transform, we win.
Mm-hmm.
If not, we can still force them to get rid of 3 goblins. They'll go to 1, and we still have a chance to find any Lightning Bolt effect. So.
Yeah. Oh.
No.
Okay. Well, there's our 4th Delver. All right. So what's the play here? We're going to be attacking with Dreadhorde and Delver, and just try to. Essentially, we have to make sure that the 2 other Delvers flip, right?
Yeah, so I would attack with just Dreadhorde Delver. They can't block in a way that kills the Dreadhorde Arcanist, because they have to sacrifice 3 goblins. So they also have to block the Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Is it better to Brainstorm or Ponder? Like Brainstorm, we can put the days back on top, but Ponder, we see more cards.
I Ponder. I think we're just looking for Lightning Bolt.
Okay. Okay, we're trying to figure out if this is a shuffle or not. Like, on the one hand, we can guarantee to flip a Delver. On the other hand, the other 2 cards are inconsequential.
I don't think Arcanist is actually inconsequential, because having 2 of them in play means that next turn we're almost guaranteed to be able to connect with an Arcanist. So I actually kind of like this. It's not exactly what we're looking for, but we do get to flip the Delver. We get to play a 2-mana 1/3 that's not only difficult to kill, but can generate some serious advantage.
Okay.
So I kind of like it.
All right.
I think if we're shuffling, while we do still have a play in Delver Secrets, I think it's a pretty comfortable situation that we're in as it is. And they can't jump and sacrifice on the Dreadhorde Arcanist because of trample, so they have to sacrifice actually 1 more goblin.
I see. Yeah. Thank goodness this thing doesn't target creatures.
Yeah. It's a pretty good one. It would be
pretty good if it could. Okay, so we're just gonna deploy the Arcanist and pass.
Yep.
This feels like honestly, it feels like we had the nuts here. So it's like it would take a lot for them to find a way, but I wouldn't put it past them, because like one what's that thing that ringleader like would
Right.
potentially get them back into it. Okay, all right. So
Yeah, we were still kind of called to pyrokinesis for a
mhm.
decent amount of that game, but they just never had it. So that was pretty good.
That was still a sweat though, despite us having like
Definitely.
3 delvers and a bolt and
This
like
matchup
2 armor.
can be really scary, honestly. So
Yeah, and now it's scary because we're on the draw again. So, what do we do here? Like, do we want to? Do we make any changes here? Like, we thought about maybe the null rod on the play, but it's definitely not a good card on the draw. I don't think.
I agree. Yeah, I think the only thing we should really consider is, do we want another force indication in order to maximize our ability to stop Nathan Vile? I don't. I think the only thing I would really consider bringing that in over is a daze,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because daze does lose a lot of value on the draw, and being able to
What
stop a
about what
Vile.
about Rich? What about Vapor Snag? Could that potentially be uh good for tempo or something on the draw?
It's okay against Lackey. It's also, I think the problem is that almost all of their creatures at this point have ETB effects.
Yeah.
Uh, they have Matron, Ringleader, Muxus, Mog War Marshal. It would mostly be for Lackey, and I think even when we're vapor snagging a Lackey, it's a little bit too
Yeah.
underwhelming.
Okay.
Um, so I would consider bringing in one force negation for 1 days. I think
Yeah.
that's, I kind of like that. We
Would you
really want to stop.
would you consider cutting like the third Oko on the draw, or do you think that card is just like too good?
I would consider that. I think that's not unreasonable. I think Oko is enough of a powerful threat and answers enough of the cards that matter that I think it's probably worth keeping around.
Yeah. The other issue is that there's nothing better to bring in, right? That's
Right,
fundamentally
right.
okay. So let's go with this and hope that the Goblin Gods do not give him the game one hand. We'll see. Oh, that's interesting. This doesn't
So
seem like a great hand just because we don't have a threat, but I can see us sculpting. So I'm sort of like, but it also gives us a lot of safety in having 3 lands on the draw. So I'm not 100% sure what to make of it because if they have a turn 1 lackey, we're also just kind of boned again.
I think to me this hand looks just like our game one hand. We have an answer for Bile, which is the scariest thing, but we don't have an answer to. It's the scariest thing in a game that might go a little bit long. But
Yeah.
Lackey not having an answer to that means that an uncontested Lackey just wins the game on the spot. So I think this is a mulligan. It's close, but
Yeah.
considering that Daze isn't actually reliable,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so this hand's no better in that regard, but it's
But we're down to
kind of
6.
still
Yeah.
playing. We're down to 6.
The
We
question is
also
what.
do have the Delver.
Yeah. The question is what card to bottom. Like I could see a case for bottoming one of the lands. I could also do a case for bottoming even like Oko or Preordain. So what are your thoughts on that?
I would bottom the island. I think it is. I can see a justification for bottoming either of the 2 spells you mentioned, but the problem is we have this force world that we can expect to use, and if we bottomed, okay, so
Okay, so I guess we're gonna force, and what are we pitching? That's the question.
that is a question. If they start wastelanding us, Oko is going to be tough, but they won't be able to develop quite as much. I would remove the Oko. I think it's going to be difficult to cast at this game.
Yeah.
Okay. To kind of keep the spells we can cast, even though they might have what's it called, something.
Okay, I think we have to go Trop Delver, right, instead of Preordain. Okay.
Yep, I think if we drew a land, I would consider like fetching up an island.
Right.
There.
Right now we're ahead, especially when they don't have the vial. So if they want to waste us, they're basically like setting themselves back.
Yeah.
They could have pyrokinesis.
Yeah, they could, but this isn't quite as bad because we
I
don't
know.
only using one creature.
Oh no, if they have pyrokinesis, like preordaining wouldn't have helped that either. Like it's just sort of like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really we're looking for, another Dreaded Arcanist. Probably a Wasteland is honestly pretty decent for us.
Mm-hmm.
More removal can't hurt. And more lands. Really, most of our deck is pretty good here.
Yeah. Oh, that's the best possible 2
And
lands.
there's Gallus.
Oh, they have Chalice. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so that
unfortunate.
makes sense. Um, they don't really have anything else of which
Mm-hmm.
informing. So yeah, the chalice is going to be problematic. Uh, Currently, keeping Oko around wouldn't have necessarily helped.
It wouldn't necessarily
With
help, and we
uh,
still would have had to like naturally find a third land. So it would have been,
really a fourth land.
yeah,
Like
really,
the
because
fourth,
of the port. And if they know what they're doing, which they do.
and our game one hand might have been too slow here because we would have kept. They would have. Vile would have entered the battlefield. We would have played a land. They would have played a port. They would have played the chalice. I mean,
Yeah.
we would have had answers, but they would start to, begin getting a lot of advantage off of it.
Uh huh.
I think it would have been too slow. It might have been good. It might have been okay, but I think it was still worth mulliganing because the risk was a bit too
Oh
high.
yeah, yeah. Play to win, not play to
Yeah,
not lose.
yeah,
Okay, there's nothing we can do about that. Oh man, so juicy.
yeah. So many nice cards
I
that
know
can't do anything.
so many nice uncastable cards.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, we still have like, yeah, it's gonna be hard, but we'll see. It's like conceivably they don't have removal, but that's it's unlikely. But maybe they're just drawing to a lot of lands. That's really my hope.
yeah. The removal is if it's not pyrokinesis. I guess they also have Goblin Crater Maker, which could be a problem.
Yeah, they were relying on the vial to resolve, obviously, and now, yeah, now it's going to be tough unless we get
Yeah,
into some wastelands right away, because basically they have effectively one red, so we need to shut that off.
yeah. I guess the thing about our first hand that would have been good against this particular situation is that we had a couple fetch lands, so
Mm-hmm.
we would have been able to reliably develop our mana through what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still very close.
Oh yeah,
That's the thing with these like double hands. It's so interesting um, when you don't draw like exactly the right cards.
right. Yeah, it's just these narrow edges. I don't have any negativity towards how it played out. It's just very 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 close. I mean, the gem palm, yeah, that definitely allows them to kill the Delver. I guess they're just waiting.
Oh, they also have a munitions expert. Sure, that
Oh,
makes sense.
okay. I mean, we'd have to like draw, I don't know, like three Delvers in a row, but that even but with the wasteland, it's like
Well, we also can't cast them because of the challenge. Oh, you
exact.
free land
Oh,
though?
that's right. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to fetch. I think we have to fetch island, basically, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh man, yeah, it'd be great if we had cards that we could cast, but that's
Yeah.
asking for a lot. I know.
So, what conceivable sequence of cards? I There might be none
Uh,
because they have this incinerator.
yeah, if they continue tapping stuff down, even a rough tumble doesn't help us.
Yeah, yeah. That
Oh
that
yeah,
in conjunction with ringleader, it's gonna be too much.
yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely a scary matchup.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I guess they can cast that next turn. That's cool.
uh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's interesting. Okay, sure.
Hmm. Okay. Well, it doesn't. I guess we have waste. I mean, we have to play it out. There's nothing else we can do, right? So
Yeah, if we just like exclusively draw lands for the next 2 turns,
yeah.
and they don't, and they like sacrifice their board Muxus and Nest.
If they severely misplay, then we
Yeah,
have a chance. Yeah, I actually played against Goblin Lackey, our opponent, when I was running Rug Delver with Goyfs, and even then he just had like just some insane pyrokinesis. I'm not trying to be salty about it. I'm just saying that he's very good. So even with the Goyfs
yeah,
in my deck, which is a lot better against goblins, like it was tough. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember his team was also in Legacy Double Dash
Uh-huh.
with me and Noah, and every time I watched him, I was like, he really understands what he's doing with the
Oh
deck.
yeah.
I was very impressed every single time,
Yeah.
and yeah, with it. But yeah, and yeah, man, I played against his teammate too. Just people who really understand what's going on with goblins can really dismantle these fair decks pretty
Yeah.
well in a decent amount of games. So very cool.
Yeah, his match against was it Anurag and Snow Control in the Double Dash was
Yes.
like really a masterclass when I watched
Yeah,
that.
totally.
Just playing to every potential out he had, which is the way it should be. Yeah, I think Mulligan into 6 was when the the match was decided. Slight
All right.
exaggeration. Yeah. Okay, I don't know this opponent, so let's see. We're in the dark. I think this is a keep. It doesn't really, and it might be a combo that can just kill us, but I don't
Yeah, it's
think.
a little fair, but I completely agree. Sometimes this is like you can't always have a hand that's going to answer everything. And this is good enough against most decks that I think this is a pretty good hand.
Mm-hmm. Oh, basic island, not a snow island.
Oh, I might have played this person yesterday. They might be on Blue Red Velvet
Okay,
because I remember seeing Basic Island and thinking things about it. And then they played.
okay.
I think
Well,
it was
the question is, do we Delver off the Vulk or the Trop? Probably the Trop, right? Because we want that
Yeah.
removal.
Yeah, I agree. It's also pretty likely that we're going to want to cantrip next turn.
Yeah.
So if we're going to start our turn with a cantrip, we're going to. Okay.
I think we let
Yeah.
this
So
resolve. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I almost never force a world.
Yeah.
It. I would even
Never say
agree
never,
days on
but they're not getting max value from it. The question is if they daze. I think if they daze is actually it's actually okay. It's not like the end of the world. I don't know if we
I
fight that.
generally like when my opponents daze before turn 2 because they do set themselves back pretty far, and because of that, I don't really want to. Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
this is almost always okay.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe they'll just have like 2 wastelands in a row when we won't draw a threat or something like that.
Yeah.
But
That's fine.
now, for the rest of the game, we have the mana, for at least not for the rest of the game, at least for the next 2 to 3 turns, we're going to have a mana advantage, and that's going to give us a little bit more to work with. So
Okay, so they play
I almost
fetch.
never daze when I have 1 land in play
Mm-hmm.
before I hit the second turn. So it does happen, but
Okay, so I think we play out Volk. There's nothing to wasteland. We ponder off the Volk, right? Because there's nothing. There's no one green. There's no one G play that we can make right now.
I would actually consider just preordaining before we do anything else.
Oh, you mean just to try and draw out a daze maybe or something?
That's definitely one part of it, and the other is that we don't necessarily have a shuffle effect tied up, which means preordaining is going to be a little bit more smoothing than anything else.
Interesting.
We're not thinking for anything specifically. We're just trying to, get through some cards, see what's up.
Do you want them to potentially daze it by preordaining?
I'd be okay with that dazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never thought about like the ponder versus preordained dichotomy. Like I usually just think about like, do I want to brainstorm or play ponder / preordain? Like in terms of do I have fetch lands, right?
Right.
But I never thought about that. Okay, so that's interesting. I think we probably want both of these cards. So even though Delver's not gonna flip, we're still gonna play the Delver this turn.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I agree. I think it's nice to have a threat on board because it forces them to behave a certain
to
way.
answer it.
And Darkness is a better threat.
Yeah.
It depends on what's going to happen next turn, like on their turn.
Yeah, I'm really happy if they daze the Delver or force the will the Delver. Like it's just a bait, really.
Yeah, if they kill a creature here and then untap, play a Dread or Darkness,
we still have an answer. Yeah.
Might get a little interesting. We do still have an answer.
Wow, that's a really interesting looking lightning bolt. I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's from the secret lair actually.
Okay, I don't think we fight over this, as we just said. Yeah.
Yeah, I would also not daze it if we had a daze.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, because it's
I
more about getting that dread horde and killing
Yeah.
their dread horde if they have it. Basically, at this point, we know that they're on Delver with days, and yeah. Okay, so I think we will have to let this resolve, even though but we do want to tap out for Arcanist next turn, right? So there's a
um
case to be made for Force of Willing. I mean,
okay,
it's yeah.
so I wouldn't force a will here. If I think we're all gonna have to make a decision as to whether we want to kill the Delver or tap out for the Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is an interesting decision point. I think the thing is that Delver is one of those threats that, in general, you can let stick around for a turn or two, especially when we have two answers. It's not going to generate an unbelievable advantage.
Right.
It's just an aggressive creature that attacks. So we can kind of kill it almost freely. We can use all our
Yeah.
total
The
little bit of
question is,
resource.
do we try to do we try to cantrip this turn, or do we tap out?
I agree. I think that's a very interesting question. I think I like pondering because we are digging for something specific. We want to find a land. And
Mm-hmm.
if we don't find a land, we still have a decent play this turn because we can just kill the Delver Secret.
We can't play Mandrills this turn if we find it, so we probably
Right.
ponder off the Trop, right?
Yes, yes. We just want to find basically any land. Wasteland would be good. Fetch land would be decent.
Mm. Okay, that's really good. So we draw into the Trop. The question is, we probably draw into Brainstorm next turn, right? So Mandrills at the bottom.
Um, we might be interested in just casting Hooting Mendels next turn.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Like, there's nothing that like we already have a blue card for Force. Like, if there's something catastrophic, like they tap out for True Name Nemesis or something. Uh, so
Yeah, so I think this turn we can plan on playing the Arcanist. We don't need to kill the thing.
mhm.
Tropical Island's a little awkward because if they do Wasteland our red source, we can't cast Lightning Bolt.
Right.
But I think
So there's a
yeah,
case to be made for brainstorming next turn because I mean we do have preordained, but like if they wasteland our Volk, then having the mandrills on the bottom is better, right? Oh no, actually it doesn't matter. We still like can play the
we'd be able to
wasteland.
cast the Mandrels
Yeah.
still. Yeah, I think there is some merit to casting Brainstorm into Hooting Mandrels because then we can maybe preordain away something. But I think it's very likely we're going to have to cast Force of Will soon.
Okay.
I think we will. I think it's worth fighting over the Dreaded Arcanist because
Yeah.
if Dreaded Arcanist survives, we can just kind of take over the game that way. So
Yeah.
I would plan on casting the Hooting Mandrels next turn, and I would Brainstorm on the bottom, draw Trop this turn,
Okay.
and cast Arcanist.
Yeah. Yeah.
It uses all of our mana. If they daze us, maybe that's interesting. I don't know if they have a daze. They have been pausing a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
If they daze us, that kind of suggests to me that they don't have a Lightning Bolt.
Oh,
It
interesting.
definitely suggests to me they don't
Force
have a Lightning
pitching Ponder. So I think we would force back, no?
Yeah, I'd be very happy to force back a Force Bolt. I mean, I would have considered forcing a Daze or a Lightning Bolt, but now
Now
they have
it's
Spell Pierce.
oh, Spell Pierce. Okay, well
Sure.
that's fine.
So as long as they don't have a Wasteland, our situation's still fine. And even if they do have a Wasteland, we're still not in that bad of a situation.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to play a very good threat next turn. We have an answer for the next two cards. If they don't have a Wasteland, if they do have a Wasteland, sure.
Oh, they're doing
getting
Brainstorm
pretty
Flip. That's even better for us. Yeah, that actually makes it harder for them to play an Arcanist this turn or like. Yeah, I'm generally I'm not a fan of ever doing that in Delver Mirrors. Like, there's a case to do that if you're really on the rush, you really want to do the extra damage against combo, or you want to block the Mirror Lodge. But I don't see that being good most of the time. I could be wrong.
Completely agreed. Here I think it's much too aggressive. The Delver Mirrors come down to very specific resource interactions, and I think Brainstorm gives you too much value. You can just be okay with your Delver not flipping for a turn or two, even though like it is going to apply pressure. It's not actually applying that much pressure to us right now because they don't have that many cards in hand. Like, sure, it'll attack for 3, it'll get him for 6, maybe it'll get him for 9, and we'll be at 10. But what are they doing with us being at 10? They're not really starting to pull ahead.
Right.
For real Lightning Bolt, sure.
Yeah.
As long as we don't get wastelanded, I think we're in a. I don't want to say dominant, but we're in a pretty strong
Yeah.
situation. And again, worst case, we do get wastelanded, and we'll manage
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So,
They have
but
lightning bolt and one unknown card. Well, it's pretty clear what we need to do here.
don't Angels first. We want to play on Scorpius.
Yeah. So basically, we're gonna delve the full amount. Then
Yeah.
we're
Oh
not.
no, don't cast Angels first.
Oh. What are you? Okay. So I see. So we're
We don't
gonna.
want them to Scorpius our removal spell.
Sorry. So we're gonna chain lightning the delver first.
Yes, because if they do have spell pierce, they can do it, but they have lightning bolt in hand, so we know what lightning bolt, and this
Right.
allows us to resolve the rumors through and chain lightning through a spell pierce.
Okay. So now we're going to. Well, we're not gonna tap out, but we're gonna.
Yeah, perfect. We just
Now the question is,
and
I think we dump chain lightning and preordain, right? Just leave ponder.
we only have to choose one more, and I would leave. I would get rid of chain lightning.
Okay. We don't. We want to play around
I
the
think
days, as unlikely that
yeah,
as that is.
yeah. I think your uh tendency to play Gurmag Angler actually just came out there because you don't get it out one more.
Yeah. Guilty as charged.
Okay, this is perfect for us.
Yeah. There's no wasteland, so this is it's very good.
Totally. Well,
This is a snap bolt.
yep, just bolt that and go to attack, but not cast anything else. Again, we still want to get more value out of our brainstorm if we can.
Right.
Only things this is stopping us from doing is casting an Oko next turn. But even then, an Oko 2 turns is still going to be pretty good, and getting more value out of our brainstorm is going to be pretty important here.
For sure. Like they don't look like to be a deck that's playing Oko. Even if it was, we could brainstorm a response.
Right.
Yeah, this is where spell pierce, like that discussion. This is where, well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe spell snare would have been good here too. But okay, what do we do here? We just let this go, right? I mean, they're.
So this can be very scary. It can kill us. And I guess the problem is we don't have a removal spell lined up for it.
Yeah.
So if we brainstorm and miss, that could definitely lead to a pretty scary situation.
Yeah, we probably want to go one card deeper and main phase it, right?
Yeah, the only question is, do we want to try to find a daze for it?
Yeah.
I think
we have 4 days left in the deck, yeah.
I think in general, I would just like getting one card deeper is probably more important than trying to daze this white track. Yeah.
Okay.
It can be scary, but we're still racing them. So we're gonna go to 15. They'll go to 10.
Yeah.
If they bolt us, and it's still not. They still kind of have to answer the Hootie Mandrills or do something else.
Right.
I think we should be okay.
But it was definitely a decision. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So now we're gonna brainstorm first, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty good. So we're putting back Volk and Scalding Tarn, and just bolting it, right?
Yep, totally. And I would even probably fetch land here so they don't potentially stifle us. I doubt they have stifle. They have stifle, but
okay. Well,
we all gonna be one, so
I'm gonna bolt it right now first.
Yep.
They can't have anything yet because they have a lightning bolt in hand, so no force of will. Okay, so you're thinking probably fetch, right?
Yeah, we're gonna fetch before it's our turn anyway, so we might as well just play around stifle. It's kind of free. They probably don't have it in their deck, but you never know.
It is interesting though, because like you're potentially losing a tiny bit of brainstorm equity, right? If we get another one. No, we have to fetch it. Oh, sorry, we have to fetch anyway. What am I saying?
Because we have to brainstorm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it was just.
It is interesting how like sometimes you start thinking about things in like a certain way.
Yep.
You miss like
my mind just went somewhere else completely, and it's just like that wasn't where it needed to go. You know. It's probably like a few turns ago when I said, "Oh, if we draw into Hooting Manager can't play anyway." Like that wasn't even a consideration for what mana to ponder off of, right? So.
Okay, so they might have double bolt. Fetched. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's getting the days is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know why they fetched Where
Yeah,
they
maybe
did.
they're playing around Stifle.
Yeah, yeah, maybe they'll also do that. That makes sense.
No, I mean playing around me top decking a Stifle.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a possibility. We didn't play pre-order, and usually that suggests that we don't have it. But
Okay,
okay,
so
so
we probably Wasteland first, right?
I think so.
Yeah, just to see if they
Just
want to
kind of
play.
bait out anything. Like if they're
Yeah,
gonna play Blazing Ball, they're gonna do it anyway.
yeah,
So it doesn't matter that much. Like they're pretty much forced to cast Blazing Ball all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely a couple of scary turns, even when we had the swimming visuals, that they could have played a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing with Red Protagonist is, again, if you don't
Just
answer it will
snowballs.
just take over the game.
Yeah,
It's the threat that ends all threats, essentially.
yeah.
So it was still scary even up until the last few turns, but we were able to, dodge that right there. So
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so here's an interesting. This is definitely an interesting matchup. So they seem to be blue red. They could still be rug. We just don't know 100%. But like I could potentially see, like, how do you feel about Clothes in the kind of Delver mirrors?
I like it. It's not game ending in every
Yeah,
situation, and sometimes it can be hard to resolve, but it is powerful and it does something pretty real.
it's
So
essentially a flip Delver that has hexproof.
yeah, yeah, in a way. Or like it's like a worse Oko that can't be spell pierced.
Yeah.
You know.
So we keep
Um,
our lands. I would consider potentially like maybe even bringing in a braid just for like creature kill.
so
But
I'm just gonna spitball some of my thoughts
sure,
here.
yeah, yeah, please, yeah. That's why I have you.
So in general, in the Delver Mirror, I don't like Force Negation, and I don't love spell pierce. I think it's okay, and I don't love Force Will.
Mm-hmm.
Some number of those I tend to keep in,
Yeah.
depending on how I sideboard. I do like Pyroblast, all of them. Just against all Delver decks, I would almost always bring those in.
That's interesting because I usually just bring in two, but maybe I'm being too conservative. Yeah.
I think there's enough blue cards these days. It's either Oko, it just kills Delver, trades with that.
Mm-hmm.
It trades with cantrips, which is fine sometimes. I think our opponent on blue-red and not on Teamer, I'd be surprised if they had green. So Submerge doesn't really do anything, and Vapor Snag's all worse.
Mm-hmm. So we can actually keep them in the sideboard like this.
Yeah. We saw Sprite Dragon and not Young Pyromancer, so I don't think Rough Tumble.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's probably not rug.
Because they're blue red, they might have some kind of bounce spells.
Mm-hmm.
So Veil Summer gets a little bit better in that world.
So we can consider bringing in Veil just for like potential. That's not the axis we're really fighting on. So it's like I find Veil to actually be a much better card if they're, excuse my language, like playing incorrectly and trying to win like battles on the stack. Like
yeah, I also against blue red, I like cutting a wasteland. Like
okay,
wasteland's important, but you still have 18 lands.
Yeah.
You don't need all of them to cast your spells, and
Yeah.
at the same time, you're not denying them mana that much.
Yeah.
And on the draw, I could see cutting an Oko as well.
Yeah.
Oko
So this might be
draw.
not bad, right? Just kind of like this.
Yeah, there are so many different ways. I think this is totally fine. I think this matchup you can probably just submit, but this is something that there's so many different ways you can configure your deck.
Mm-hmm.
I sidebar out all my force balls sometimes. Sometimes I really Veil, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I more wastelands if they're playing blue red, spell PS, all that kind of stuff. But I think this configuration makes sense based on what we saw.
Yeah. This is unfortunately a mulligan. I don't feel safe enough in these kind of matchups to like just keep a one lander on the draw. Would you agree?
I think it is close, but I agree. I'd probably end up mulliganing this.
Yeah. I'm probably shortcutting heuristics, but I think I'll mulligan here, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fine.
Okay.
If it is wasteland, that's we lose the game. So, this hand is good.
Yeah, the basic island's good. The question is what to bottom. I would consider bottoming maybe a brainstorm.
Yep. Whenever I have a choice between cantrips to bottom, I generally tend towards the one I have multiples of because it's better to diversify, I think. This hand's not incredible because we are a little bit cold.
So just like early aggression by them, we're a little bit. Okay, it's actually nice that they just passed. Like if they played a Delver, we'd be in a lot more trouble. So we might actually consider just Flooded Strand pass too, right?
I think because we have so many cantrips, it's probably worth casting one just to use our spells.
Just to try and also draw out a daze if they want to do that, right?
Yeah, we are looking for a lightning bolt kind of above everything else right
Mm-hmm.
now.
So
So
so then we would ponder. We would ponder off the
I
snow
think
cone.
just because we have the fetch land next turn, I would cast Ponder.
Okay.
That's the way I tend to think about cantrips. It's like, what are my next turns going to look like?
Right.
How deep do I need to dig? Am I looking for multiple cards? I think here we're looking for a lightning bolt. We're also looking for a land,
Oh,
and I don't think we're looking for these cards.
this is. Oh, we're gonna shuffle, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so more cantrips. So this is not so good if they cast Dread Arcanist next turn, because
Exactly.
if they cast Dread Arcanist, we probably have to daze, and if they daze back, we're not going to be able to dig into
Yeah.
a.
We're just gonna have to pray to dig into lightning bolt next turn. Yeah.
Yeah, we could let it resolve, and then we'll lie out our brainstorm to find us a lightning bolt, which isn't that bad. That might be decent.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll see what they do first.
Rewarded for playing the basic island right now. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Do we actually daze this? Like,
I I almost never daze when I only have one land. I want to develop my mana.
Okay.
I think that's more important than stopping them from brainstorming. And
Yeah.
sure, this brainstorm does smell a little bit like weakness.
yeah.
Maybe they don't have another land, but maybe they do, and they're just trying to get a mana advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even if they missed a land after our days, there's also the other consideration that if we daze and they don't have another land, they could just daze back, and now even if they miss a land,
Oh
they
yeah.
can go.
Now we're really behind. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm generally pretty cool letting that stuff resolve. This doesn't matter.
I think we just let this resolve. Yeah. Just.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, okay. Not terrible. I think we would just try to tap out for Arcanist, right?
I like that. There's some consideration to just casting a cantrip and maybe trying to find something, but I like just playing Arcanist. It's probably gonna die.
Yeah.
The thing with the double mirror is your cards basically all trade for everything else.
exactly. I think you mentioned this in one of your tweets. Like, it's just very
Totally.
incremental.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of the advantages of Tomlife in the mirror, because it doesn't trade with everything.
I think we do have to daze back, right?
I don't think we have to, but I like it.
Yeah.
The reason I like it is because, again, if Arcanist sticks, we'll probably dominate the game. So
Yeah. So for the chance of that, for the equity, we should try to daze back. The question is, I think we probably daze with Volcanic Island, right?
I would return the snow-covered island, because if they wasteland us, they're not answering the Alchemist, realistically.
Right.
And we'd rather have this volcanic island in play. Okay, another day. It's like this is okay, because they're setting themselves pretty far behind, and behind is just entirely the ability to rebuild.
Yeah,
So
we have a lot of ways to get back into it. I would say it's pretty. I would say they're even like potentially slightly behind, depending on what we get.
I would definitely agree with that. They're slightly behind, and also they gave us a lot of information. They don't have a lightning bolt in hand, because if they had a lightning bolt, they would have let them resolve. So we know their hand is a snow-covered island, a card that doesn't transform a Delver, so either some kind of creature or another land. They probably don't have another cantrip. I think they would cast a Ponder here. It seems unlikely they have another Daze.
Oh, that's a really good draw for us,
That is a
actually.
good draw. Yeah, definitely.
So do we try to bait out a potential Daze again, right? So we just preordain or brainstorm?
So I think right now we have to think about what we're looking for. We want a removal for Delver, I think, first and foremost, and then we want a threat. And I think because of that, it's probably right to go Snow-Covered Island preordain.
Yeah,
because then
to get a bolt
off the volcanic island. And we also have to consider what our mana is going to look like over the next few turns. And if we have to tap.
Okay. Well, I guess we just kind of got not punished, but like it could have results oriented thinking. Like if we wastelanded them, I think it would have been really good. But we are here, so the question is, I think this is bottom, right? Or do we keep the wasteland?
I like keeping the wasteland, and I also don't think we got punished. I think this is still working out pretty well for us, because we'll keep the wasteland, bottom of the drop, then cast another preordain. And even though we're not denying their ability to develop, we're developing ourselves. Yeah. So I think that's going to lead to us being overall in a pretty decent situation.
Oh, this
I
is
don't want
actually
to.
quite good. So do we bottom the trop?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's some merit to keeping it because maybe they'll wasteland us and then we'll want the Pluto Delta get a volcanic and we'll want the drop in
Yeah.
hand. But I don't think they have a wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they do,
It's not the end of
we
the world.
only have 6 green cards in our deck,
Right.
and all of them can be cast off of a single drop, and we don't need them for a little bit because we don't even have access to it right now. So
Oh, that's interesting. ELT brainstorm. Oh man, I keep wanting the dazes, but I know I shouldn't, right? In this
I'd
case.
select Resolve because um, we know their hand is Snow Covered Island and a card doesn't transform the Delta. It's possible they have another threat, a 2-drop, and we're
Uh-huh.
going to want to daze the 2-drop because we don't have it. We don't have 2 answers lined up on board. We don't have a lightning bolt. So if they
Right.
play Organist, we kind of have to daze.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, it's thinking ahead. Yeah, like that's the bigger threat.
Plus,
Yeah, we have to daze the Arcanist and
Our Wasteland is going to make our days better as the game goes along, and they're losing value with the way they're casting their brainstorms.
mm-hmm.
So, like, we are technically under a little bit of pressure, but it's not too much pressure by any stretch, and our situation is good as this game goes on. We're going
Yeah.
to have the ability to take advantage of this mana advantage better. So,
Oh,
and
what did they
transformed
reveal? Oh, they revealed Brainstorm. Okay. So they have Brainstorm, Snow Cover Island, and 4 cards. Okay, now we have to daze this.
I think this is what's saving.
Yeah,
They're going to have to
and
have
we are returning. I don't think we're gonna play around Wasteland, right? Even if they did Wasteland, we have a Delta, so I guess we would return Snow Covered Island.
Yeah, I like that. They have another days. It is
So be it. You know, if you find like 3 dazes,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so let's see what we drop. And we have a couple of options that are pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that is
Wasteland.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's still we can suspect we don't have a fetch land because they didn't fetch after their brainstorm.
Right.
They might have a wasteland, and if that's the case, that's fine-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like my initial thought is just play wasteland, then cast Pyroblast before doing anything else, and
Right.
then wasteland the Volcanic Island. That plays around days, and we're going to deny their mana. We don't know if they have another land. We know that their cards have been used a little ineffectively this game.
Yep.
We just need to make sure we don't lose to pressure, but by denying them mana, we're making it less likely that they're going to be able to cantrip and cast a meaningful card in the same turn, thus essentially buying us time.
Yep. It's about buying us time to land that. Yeah, that's fine. They're gonna wait.
Yeah,
if you want to waste
totally
back,
okay.
that's totally fine. It's according to the script.
Yep, totally.
Okay. Now the question is, I guess we just polluted Delta Pass, right?
Yeah, I would do that. It allows us to hold up the Red Blast, and next turn, it's somewhat likely that we'll go Snow Covered Island and maybe Brainstorm on the end of their turn or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Oh, so we might have an end-step Brainstorm. Let's see what they do. That's interesting. Do we just blast it or no? It's kind of close.
That's interesting. I think I would because we can't Pyroblast to answer an Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
It does answer Sprite Dragon.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna actually. Yeah, this is a time where I think we go for it. I mean, we have land, so it's like, yeah, we're exposing the Volk isn't the end of the world.
Yeah, I think so. If we hold up the Red Blast, okay, this makes sense. I was probably suspecting the same thing you were, that they were a little bit light on land. That's what kind of explains the brainstorm the most. They bottom, which is good. The problem with holding up the red is if we're going to hold it up for to answer a Sprite Dragon, they might just play
right.
What's the other thing called? Dreadnought Alchemist, and then
so
we kind of.
So I think our play here is like polluted Delta, but the question is whether we brainstorm this turn or we just wait.
I would go polluted Delta brainstorm. I think finding Delve of Secrets is pretty good here.
Okay. Oh, that was. I'm glad we brainstormed. Okay, these are some of these cards are bad. The question is, I think Spell Pierce has value. Do we put back the basic island?
Yeah, I'd put back Snow Covered Island and Fetch Line because
Yeah.
we basically have all the lands we need for the rest of this game.
Yeah.
Spell Pierce, we're gonna basically trade. I think we should trade the Spell Pierce for basically everything. This is
For
the one of the unfortunate parts of Delamere where we are a little bit flooded,
hmm
and their hand is all spells.
Okay, so
That being said,
we're gonna fetch
yeah,
we're gonna fetch Trop, I guess. Yeah.
yep. We just want to find Hooting Mandrels, kind of
Oh,
everything here,
that's a
or
good
that.
draw.
That's perfect.
So I think we polluted Delta Arcanist, right?
I would actually Wasteland Arcanist.
Oh, you mean play
Uh,
Arcanist off the Wasteland?
yes,
Okay,
yes. And
it's
the
even
reason I
better.
like
Yeah,
that is it preserves our fetch
yeah, a
land
little fetch equity
or
later.
the
Yeah.
or the General Arcanist if it lives.
hmm
So Wolves, they didn't cast a cantrip on their main phase, and they've already cast 3 brainstorms. So
hmm
I don't think they have a cantrip. They'd have to have another daze if they had that, and I think so. I think I'd spell Pierce. Okay, not that
hmm
they're removing
Okay,
it
now
completely.
now I think we're kind of getting our gears. So the question is, let's see here.
I would
Uh,
cast brainstorm here because we have 2 cards we really don't want in hand.
yeah.
Um, if we find a ponder, I guess we'll just see what we hit.
Oh, this is very good.
Those cards are really good.
I think we can actually just put. There's nothing they play on turn 2 that we need to Spell Pierce with 2 lands. So I think we put Spell Pierce back on top, and we can essentially play Delver and Mandrills. What do you think?
So I agree that we should play Delver and Mandrels, but I disagree that we don't
Oh,
need
we
spell
should
Pierce.
put Bolt on top because we can
Yes,
always wait. Yeah.
we're
Um.
basically not going to cast Bolt next turn,
Okay.
no matter
So
what. And
basically,
spell Pierce, we're gonna answer
basically,
with something.
sure. I'll put Bolt and Delta and Bolt on top, and then we can do this thing.
Yep, and then we get to go fetch land, play both of our threats, holding up Wasteland, so we don't need
I
to.
think
So we can play
we
us.
I think we play the Delver first on the off chance that they want to force will.
I think if that's the case, we should play Hooting Mandrels first because then we
Okay.
can spell Pierce without.
So we don't actually this is Delverful now. We got tons of stuff.
Yeah, so it is worth considering whether we have to waste it or not. But I like being able to still play around days with the spell
hmm
Pierce if that comes up.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially when there's no real cost to us. Like we had
oh,
our graveyard is just insanely large.
yep. So because we drew the Organist and they tripped up, we all got through that part of the game where maybe they have more spells than us because we flooded, and
Right.
we kind of we were allowed to do that because we were ahead on mana.
Yeah.
So them missing on lands tripped them up, thus allowing us to draw a threat that they couldn't answer, and now we could get to run away with the game. So
Now it's hard to know if they. I mean, I think they might have played suboptimally in all spots as we all do, but the end step brainstorms seemed like a little loose. Obviously, we don't know what hand they actually had, but it didn't seem like they needed to necessarily go for that if you can go a little bit deeper. But
I agree. I think they played a little bit too aggressively with their brainstorms, and they could have gotten more value out of it, which is what you're really looking to do.
yeah,
And especially because they were missing on some very specific cards, right? Like they ended the game not finding us the land they needed. So if they were able to wait a little bit, they can get more value and extract a little bit more out of
hmm
their cards there.
I really like the fact that you helped me think about like. I mean, it's common sense, but I still have to train myself. It's like, what could they have next turn, right? It's like especially that Pyroblast versus Daze thing, where it's like the only thing that's gonna hurt us is really like that Arcanist. So it's like we want to make sure we have that Daze for that, and it's just like we're trying to. It's almost like you're sculpting your game plan. Not almost. It is like you're sculpting your game plan towards like not only what we're doing, but also what they think that we're doing, and yeah, it's hard for me to
Yes.
articulate it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I do think I don't think I'm necessarily like an above average magic player in like all these different ways, but I do think I'm very good at thinking about what our opponent's going to do and then coming up with counter strategies for it.
Yeah.
I think some of that is kind of like a play pattern experience thing where I've just seen these things play out. I can just like see in my mind's eye the world where they cast Darkness, then we daze and they daze back, then we untap, we cast a cantrip, and then we're going to try to find a lightning bolt and that kind of stuff. I'm trying to constantly think about what our opponents are doing. One of the things I tell people the most is when you're playing a game of Magic, just ask why. Why are they making the plays they do?
Yeah.
Why did they make the decisions? And sometimes the reason is based on faulty logic. Sometimes, their assessment of the game plan or, the actual game that's happening isn't consistent with what yours is. But you can basically always deduce what's going on by asking why and just questioning that on a really basic level. And then you can start to formulate your own game plan through that. So,
yeah. Like, I think the first round versus Mr. Goblin Lackey was also very instructive. Like, he was essentially, I think especially in game 2, like game 2 was actually closer than, like, I think it would have been a lot harder for me to navigate it without your help. Like, because you have to think about what are the things that he was trying to draw out with our dazes and things like that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I would bet money that he had that Cabinet of Souls in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet $5. Put $5 on that. Yeah.
He just knows how important it is to resolve specific cards at certain stages of the game, and that Goblin Lackey is going to trade with things, so he can just play that. It doesn't matter if we daze it; it's actually better for him if we daze it because his game plan is to punish our mana, and then our Delver Secrets aren't going to apply enough pressure, and he's going to answer them. So, yeah, I think it's really I think instructive is the right word when you play against somebody who really understands the game plan, because you're like, oh, this is what they were doing 5 turns in advance.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, you're like, oh, that's what that play on turn 2 meant.
Right.
This is what they were trying to set up this whole game.
Yeah.
And that stuff's really cool to me.
It's sort of like Magic is just not that interesting if it's just a snowball, but like, snowball for either opponent. But if the matches are close. Sorry, I'll be right back. Okay, I got to answer my door. Sure. I'll be right back.
Oh, no way.
All right, I'm back. This is like, this is easy mulligan.
Easy mulligan. Yep.
Easy peasy. Okay, so he's on they're on the play. Okay. Yeah, this isn't like amazing, but I think we keep it.
Yeah, I think the upside of this hand is that it can answer things on turn 2. We're not likely to die on turn 2 against some decks, and the hand can still really look like anything because it has cantrips and it has pressure. It's not specifically good against any one thing in particular.
I think we bottomed the trop, right? I
would bottom a fetch land.
Okay, just in case they have some real crazy...
They could have Stifle. That's something that's worth considering. And our turn 1 play is so likely going to be...
okay, I was expecting Chalice. What is this, Lightning Greaves? Okay, we're not dead, so...
Okay, yeah, I agree. This is nice. Lightning Greaves.
Spice. Yeah. I think the only interesting decision for these kind of hands in the dark is like if you had the basic land, like do you bottom it? Like there's definitely a case to keep the basic land because like you sometimes you can get Blood Moon or like a lot of things can happen. So okay, so
I would have bottomed the island in that case.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Okay. And we can talk more about that in a second.
Yeah, sure. Hypotheticals later. Yeah. Okay, so I guess...
I would do is place Snow-Covered Island into Delver. So we...
I'm sorry. I already played this out. That's a misclick.
No worries. This is good. This is what I would do. The thing is, we don't know exactly what they're doing. We can imagine there's some kind of metalworker stuff happening in their deck.
Yeah, hopefully they play Thought Not Seer on turn 2 so we can daze it. But
right, we're not guaranteed to find a Force of Will to answer whatever they're doing, and they could also be a Cabinet of Souls deck. We're not exactly sure. Yeah. Delver Secrets. Whenever I see an Ancient Tomb, my mind instantly turns to I need to attack them very quickly. Yeah. And that's no different here.
That's a snap daze, right?
easiest days of all time
Yeah.
because we like to play Magic.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I would bottom the island because the thing with this hand, like having a trap and a polluted delta, is that gives us access to both colors of mana.
Mhm.
And if we bottomed the polluted delta but had a snow covered island instead, we only have access to two colors.
Yeah.
So I think you can play around Blood Moon and that could be scary, but the odds of them having
Yeah,
that
it's far less
are,
likely. Yeah, turn one on
are
that.
less likely than the odds of you getting punished for not having access to colors of mana when you need them.
Mm.
And the reason I like starting on the island here is because green mana is in this deck not emphasized early in the game. We only need it when we have 5 cards in the graveyard or 3 mana in play.
Yeah.
And thus we start on Soul Covered Island pretty safely.
That's a great way to think about it, and that's also the difference between this build and the Goif build. Because like Goif,
Right.
you generally want to tap out on turn 2 with the trap for that.
Right. Definitely.
I hope our opponent's not on tilt. That we manage to like have basic land days. Oh, wasteland. Okay, that's a pretty good.
That's really interesting. So they played a wasteland. If they had another soul land, they would have played it.
Yeah.
Um,
They were expecting that Trinisphere to resolve. Now the question is, do we waste their Ancient Tomb, right? And basically, like, because there's nothing they can play on turn 2 on their next turn that for a 2-drop that we really are that concerned about, except maybe Chalice.
Well, we have to consider known information because there is the possibility that they play a 3-drop that we care about if they played an Ancient Tomb. But the thing is that we can suspect they don't have an Ancient Tomb in hand because they would have played it to resolve their Trinisphere. We also can deduce that they don't have a Chalice to avoid in their hand because they would have played it last turn and they would have played it, or they would have played it on turn 1. So their hand isn't a soul land and it's not a Chalice to avoid. So realistically, I agree that if we wasteland them, it's unlikely they're going to play a 2-drop that we really care about. So that's probably safe enough here because they're probably just going to go basic wastes or something and maybe just cast. Because if they had a 2-drop that mattered, they would have casted over Trinisphere to play around days.
There is an argument there is an argument to be made for like just Island Preordain though, right? Or Island Brainstorm, because like that allows us to enable our game plan and our like Force of Wills or whatever. Because like they could also top deck a Chalice. That's also something, right?
Totally, I completely agree. If we're preordaining, we're pretty much looking for Force Will above everything else. And this is one of the things that's not so good about dazing when you're only on one line. This is why I don't like doing it often.
Yeah.
Because like now we have to make a decision. Do we try to disrupt their game plan? Do we think the wasteland's going to be good enough? Or do we play a land? We're still playing a little bit behind on mana, but now we're going to try to develop our game plan in a way that's meaningful.
Yeah.
My initial thought is that they don't have another soul land, and they don't have another play that really matters. Thus, if we wasteland them, we might actually be disrupting their game plan enough that this could be it could buy us enough time to set up our game plan.
Okay, so this is like a high ceiling play. So let's try the wasteland, the Ancient Tomb.
Yep, definitely. I think I like that. I think if they draw a soul land or they have a 2-drop that really matters, that's the world where we get really punished. But they also started on a lightning breeze. We don't really know what's in their deck.
I mean, yeah, I mean they can't thought Nazi us, and they can't really like punish us for like. Interesting. Yeah, so that's potentially now a scenario where they have thought Nazi, but even then they're only taking one of these cards, so we'll see.
My immediate thought is there's some kind of Cthulhu Forge Master Metalworker.
Yeah.
It's like the leaves is kind of weird.
Oh,
Smokestack. Okay, there it is. Okay, so that's gonna definitely be annoying.
Yep. Yeah, we can't really deal with that. Okay, well, it doesn't. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay.
I think that's probably okay because we're gonna be losing our land at some point here.
Yeah.
So. Okay, I kind of like. So let's think about how this game's going to play out over the next few turns. We're going to attack 1. We're going to cast a cantrip. They're going to take the smokestack up to 1, not sacrifice anything. Then we're going to have to decide what we're going to sacrifice. And then we're going to play a land. And if we didn't find another creature, we're going to have to. They're going to take their smokestack up to 2. We're going to have to sacrifice both of our permanents. And then it's going to be their 2 cards and smokestack on 2
Yep.
versus what we have going on. So we might have to make some determination as to whether we're just not going to play more lands in order to wait out the smokestack, because they're going to have to sacrifice eventually, hypothetically.
Interesting.
So because of that, we really will find a force of will.
For the follow up, so we probably want to like play Trop, because Trop is like the most expendable land that, like, we have 4 lands, so if we have to sacrifice a land, it's not terrible, right?
Yeah, I think.
And they only have 2 cards in hand, so
well,
I would say.
Hold on. They also have the Wasteland in play, so they could kill our Delver guaranteed if we play the Tropical Island. So it's probably worth going Snow-Covered Island, Preordain, look for Force of Will. And one of the nice things about what they have going on is that if they play a land in order to keep developing their permanence for Smokestack, they lose their city traders, so they're not actually gaining permanence.
Right.
So they're probably not going to play a land anytime soon. In 2 turns, they're probably going to sacrifice their Monolith. But then they'll take it up to 2. So.
Oh yeah, that's not. I think we bottom both?
I would bottom both. Yeah, I think Force Will is important enough to find here. We're not going to have the chance to play that Delta Seekers anytime soon. And also, I think we're probably going to be. I guess we'll see what they do.
Right.
Because next turn is going to be kind of interesting, whether we sacrifice the Delver or the land. Because we also have to think about what they are going to do based on what we do. Let's say we sacrifice the land, they might think, okay, they're just going to keep playing lands every single turn, but I have to kill this Delver eventually. So now let me predict the smokestack up to 2, and thus making them have to wait out the smokestack, because now they can't develop permanence. But let's say we sacrifice the Delver of Secrets, and then we cast Ponder. They might just go keep the smokestack at 1, because they're okay just trading 1 for 1 with all our permanents every single turn. So that's definitely going to make it interesting on our upkeep.
Yeah, this is all possible because we were lucky to have the basic land.
Definitely. Okay, so they didn't play a permanent, so that's good for us.
Okay, so they did nothing. So then that's the question now. So
I think we have enough land. So, man, this is awkward though, because they have the Wasteland.
Oh, you know what? I should have not passed priority, because there's also a case to be made for like brainstorming. That's my bad.
Yeah, that's true. I think we're going to need to get a little bit more value of this game. So I think it's okay not to brainstorm either way.
Yeah.
I think my image of this game is that we're going to sacrifice the island, and then we're going to play the blue Delta, so they can't wasteland all land and then smokestack to kill our thing. And then they're going to be motivated to tick their smokestack up to 2 in order to kill this, and then it's going to be easier for us to wait it out.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking in terms of how this game's going to play. There's no guarantees. August. Okay, well, in like 15 turns, maybe that we can guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we play Trop Ponder, then they wasteland us. So I don't know if I like that, because then they don't have to take their smokestack up. I think we really want them to.
Yeah, so just polluted Delta pass.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way really for us to have a chance here, is to induce that.
Yeah, we need them to tick the smokestack up, and then just wait out the smokestack for a few turns. So we're just not going to do anything for a few turns here, which is fine. Yep, there it is.
Yep. So it's basically just.
I'm gonna guess they have at least some lands in hand, because with City of Traders it doesn't matter.
Another Grim. Okay. I don't think we can do anything here. I think we can't. I mean, we're gonna lose the Delver no matter what. So I guess we could. There's a case to be made for brainstorming.
I don't think we need to here, because the Grim Monolith itself isn't scary. We really care about the thing that follows.
Yeah.
But if they just pass, then we do.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, then we have.
Well, I gotta stop that one.
Yeah. And we get Volk.
Yes. Days would actually be kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Days
days will
plus
be.
Force will
Oh,
be really good.
okay. So this is okay. The Delver's gonna die, right? So it doesn't matter
Yep.
how we stack that. So maybe put two Trops back.
Sure. We're not gonna play any permanents for the next few turns.
Yeah,
Um,
and
and
we're gonna force pitching Ponder or
that's an interesting question because we have two Trops. We can't cast Dread Organist. So if we force a will when we ponder, we're not even going to be able to cast a Dread Organist in a few turns. We still need to draw another land.
mm-hmm.
But then we can draw another blue card, which is going to make our other force will meaningful, and we
Right?
kind of want that to happen. I think
Yeah,
I have to be force pitching ponder because this game is going to go on for many,
right.
many more turns, unless
Yeah.
they just kill us too, unless they play another card next turn or something.
Mm,
And because of that, I think we want to have a force will for the first threat they play after the smokestack.
sure.
Because we sacrifice both of our permanents, we pass. They sacrifice Grim Monolith, Lightning Greaves. If they don't play a permanent, then or they can sacrifice the smokestack
Right.
next turn. Then we're gonna start to be able to play spells. But
Yeah. So we're gonna just pass because it's not. There's absolutely no reason to do
yeah,
anything here.
yep, it might be worth it to play Trog Island next turn to either induce them to force them to make the decision as to whether they're going to sacrifice smokestack or not. They might be thinking smokestack is meaningful to sacrifice here. Yeah, so they're done with smokestack. They've had enough,
Yeah.
which makes sense.
Yeah, this interplay is very interesting. It's not it
Totally.
almost like I've never had this come up before, but that's just the diversity of Legacy.
Yeah, I don't play against smokestack often these days. Maybe in the past I had
I
some
don't think I've seen Smokestack like in paper events since like I don't know 2000 and
Yeah,
2009 or something. But
yeah, it's been a long time.
um,
Yeah, now we don't really have too many choices here.
yeah,
We
we
get to
have
play
to.
permanents again, which is nice.
You know,
If they wasteland us, we're actually happy with that because we don't really care about our tropical island at all.
right
They are probably motivated to wasteland us
to play around
because we
days.
play
Yeah,
permanent.
yeah.
Also, just in general, they might be thinking, "Oh, this player doesn't have that many lands."
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They thought wrong. We're all
yeah, they
lands.
thought mistaken. Hootie Mandles is our best draw. Any blue card is fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Hooting Mandrels is great. It would be like a 3 turn clock.
yeah,
Yeah,
I,
that's literally the best card I think to draw right now.
totally. I think going back to our turn two decision with the wasteland, I think the logic was sound. They had the soul land, so that's another thing they could have had. They could have had soul land and they didn't play it.
Uh-huh.
But regardless, us preordaining wouldn't have yielded the force will anyway. So another smoke stack move this. Okay.
Okay.
Well, they only have two cards in hand and 2 mana, so
Yeah.
okay. I think we're back to no permanent.
Yeah. Smokestack control.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting if we draw Volcanic Island.
Yeah.
Then I might consider just playing the Alchemist because then we
Just
can
to get that one
really
window, right? Yeah.
yeah, we can really start to form a game plan there.
That was not
Against
it.
this
So I guess we don't even play out the second land, right?
No, we could
We could to
if
force them to it. Yeah.
yeah. So what are they going to do? They're going to wasteland, then take the smoke stack up to 1, sacrifice Grim Monolith. But if we don't play the land, if we do play the land and they don't wasteland us because that's the thing with smokestack activation, it's very complicated.
Yeah.
I think it's correct not to play a land.
Okay.
My gut is that we should just wait out the smokestack.
We do have to wait it out.
More lands in hand. They didn't play another Karn. I think they would have left on over the smokestack. They didn't play lands when they had the City of Traders in play. I'm going to guess that they have a couple lands in hand. So they're probably going to go tick up to 1, play a land, pass the turn. We'll lose our Tropical Island, but we're going to lose that anyway because of this land. I don't think we can bait them into getting the smokestack up to 2 anytime soon.
Yeah.
Okay, and they don't have lands. Okay, so This is good because then they're not playing permanents for their smokestack. So blue cards are decent. Yeah, that's fine.
I guess we just pass, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. I just have to remember not to F6 on the next turn because they might have something.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, this is so weird. Okay, so
Yeah, it
I
is.
guess
It
they're
is really
going
weird.
to
Now they're harming themselves a little bit, but that's how it
definitely,
works.
which
You see,
is good.
this is a well designed magic card smokestack. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's not fun to play against, but at least it's symmetrical, right?
I don't know if I'd go so far as to say well designed, but
Yeah, I know.
I'll say it was at least a designed magic card.
Okay, so
Um,
interesting. That is
I like
interesting.
wastelanding. Just off the cuff, my immediate thought is to wasteland because that's going to preserve our mana base. Um, we don't
And
really,
yeah, we don't really need that. We don't really need our wasteland and that card.
yeah, not for
That's
mana.
yeah,
And I'm really happy with the choice we made last turn because we baited them, not baited, but we convinced them that they should sacrifice their smoke deck, which is the card that was the most annoying.
right.
So now they have 5 cards, 1 mana in a deck.
Oh,
That
now we're kind of back in it. So now we just play our game.
it feels like we're winning for the time being, if only slightly.
Yeah.
If we find a red source here, I'm very happy.
Of course it will. The great equalizer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is very good. So the question is, I think we basically stack Force Negation on top and draw into Scalding Tarn.
Yeah, I agree with that. The goal is to play Arcanist next turn. We don't necessarily need a second Volcanic at this stage of the game.
Mm-hmm.
If they play something, we do have to think about whether we want to daze or force it.
Yeah.
Because of our ability to develop the Dreadnought Arcanist. But
oh, that's interesting.
Cool.
Looks like they've blanked, so we're just gonna go ham.
Yeah, most of the reason I felt so comfortable there is that their entire deck costs 2, 3, and 4 mana. Like they are certainly a Chalice and Void deck. So the fact that they only have 1 mana in play means they have to draw a Soul Land.
I do feel now in retrospect, of course, hindsight's 2020, but I do feel in retrospect we wastelanded properly in both times.
I agree. Yes. I think the logic was also very sound with both of those wastelands. I think the decisions we made were based on the information in our hand and the fact that we didn't really know what the deck was. So Wasteland is our best form of disruption at that point. So
right. Oh,
and now we're feeling very, very good.
Yeah. So now the question. Oh, let's see. We're just gonna buy back Ponder and just keep going at it. I think.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
If we can find a, oh no, we can't wasteland their land, but that's okay. Can't ask for everything.
Yeah, at least we have Noah on the sideboard too, which is.
Post-board, I think we're doing pretty good. We're gonna keep in the negations, I think, force negations, and we're gonna just bring a Null Rod and a Braid and all that fun stuff.
We probably want to leave in some number of lightning bolts because they did show us lightning breeze, and again, my suspicion is Metalworker.
Yeah. Yeah, Metalworker. Okay. Let's see here. I think we keep everything, right? Because we can just continue to counter everything. It doesn't matter if we're chip damaging them.
Yep.
I would probably keep the Spell Pierce on top.
Yeah, I agree because
we have
Spell Pierce and the Force.
Yeah.
And even if we run out of cantrips, which we are set to do shortly, the nice thing is that
we have the Chain Lightnings too. Yeah, that speeds us up.
So by the time we develop our hand with all of our cantrips, we can just turn our cards into damage. So.
Yeah. I think we've turned the corner.
Unexpected here. I think we should be pretty good unless they play something unexpected.
Oh, they're discarding. That's unfortunate for them. Yeah, so I guess it was kind of an awkward.
One of those situations where I'm not prone to saying it's unfortunate. They sacrificed their own permanents.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't.
Like whenever a Delver deck just like misses it.
I know. There's times that we just completely fall apart too. So. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I'm just gonna. We still have 2 in the yard, so I'm not going for the Chain Lightning this turn. I'm just gonna go for value.
The sequencing here is interesting because if you pre-rank first, you brainstorm seasonal cards, but you have the potential to not really find anything on the top of your library, and thus brainstorm block, for a better word, of that. So I would personally preordain last and brainstorm first.
Okay, so we put preordain on the stack first, and then so we brainstorm first.
even though we know we're drawing, a card that doesn't really do that much in Volcanic Island. But we do another
Okay,
cantrip,
I don't think we even need to play. We should probably play a land's turn. So the wasteland doesn't do anything this turn. So the question is now we can bottom the 2 cards, right? So I think we
yeah, I would
can
actually consider getting rid of both lands. We
like the
wouldn't do
2
that. We're gonna
lands.
have a lot of cantrips, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
There was some merit to keeping them, but our opponent can't really afford to deny us mana at this point, right? So our mana
Exactly.
base is pretty safe. And because our mana base is safe, I really don't think we need the extra
Okay,
land.
I
We
think
can
we can
ponder
just.
here.
Oh yeah, we can ponder. We don't really need the. Yeah, if we can get a mandrills out, that would just be so much fast. Oh, this is nice.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
dead
this
next
is
turn. They are.
this sort of seals the deal. I mean, we can only play 1 red spell next turn, so I guess we just Oko next turn.
No, we have lethal, so we lightning bolt end of turn, and then like chain
Oh
lightning back,
yeah, yeah. So
and then lightning bolt.
I guess we just put yeah. It doesn't really matter, but we're gonna put lightning bolt on top.
Yep, and then we cast chain lightning right now, so we don't have to discard, and then we're holding up all of our destruction, and then next turn we get to cast lightning bolt and then attack lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you did there was something that I used to do, which is totally reasonable. But the situation is ostensibly really good, but
Mhm.
you're not necessarily thinking, "Oh, this is going to win the game." You're just like, "Oh, this card's really good. I'm just going to play the card that's really good."
Yeah.
Which in this situation, it didn't really matter that much
Yeah.
because our opponent was dead no matter what we did. But it is worth being mindful of like. I
So
think once you start considering like what's going to be lethal or like really looking for those routes.
right, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I get that tunnel vision where I don't
Right,
like I could just kill them the turn earlier with bolt. It's not about
right.
value at that point. It's just like kill them. So Vapor Snag is like a tier 2 card to potentially bring in, and I think Clothies as well. How do you feel about like these 2 cards?
I
Pretty bad,
don't think
right?
I like Vapor Snag. Um, they
Yeah.
might have like boss
It
skips and
doesn't. It
stuff.
doesn't.
And
Only
that's
bounces
fair.
creatures. Otherwise, it'd be playable if it was like
Yeah, and
chain lightning.
Closest is interesting. We have to cast it, but the only thing that's stopping it from sticking around is the smokestack. But
Yeah.
I think the cards I don't like initially are at least one chain lightning.
Uh huh. What about
Um,
Winter Orb? Is that also something to potentially bring in? You think?
they showed us, so I don't like Winter Orb against Soul Lands generally because
Mm-hmm.
then they'll have more mana than us.
Oh yeah, I remember asking you that on your stream once, I believe,
Oh,
against
did
like
you?
Moon Stompy or something. Like is pretty
Oh, sure,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah. What about Sylvan Library? Is that something too, or we have enough
Um,
like inevitability anyway?
I think we don't need card advantage. We're gonna want it's like goblins. We're still gonna want to impact the board
Mm-hmm.
uh, a little bit more. I could see bringing out another lightning bolt.
Yeah.
We didn't really see any creatures. We saw the lightning creatures, but no other creatures. And we are
Yeah,
bringing
and
in
we can
Fey.
answer those things. So
Yeah,
I could almost see us like even cutting another bolt and maybe potentially a spell pierce on the draw. I think dazes are good. They pitch in the worst case, so I would be thinking like maybe another spell pierce, or another lightning bolt. What do you think?
the cards that I would not be upset cutting is either one spell pierce, one bolt, one daze, or one preordain.
Okay,
Preordain, like I tend to cut cantrips when I play against Chalice a decent amount because you don't want to
yeah.
draw too many of them.
I'm gonna live on the wild side. I'm gonna cut another bolt. Like if they punish us with I don't know what it is, but like then I'll know what to do for game
I
3.
think
So.
Metalworker.
Oh, that's
Um,
true. Yeah,
would
actually, you're right. Like, that's a clean answer to Metalworker. So maybe cutting a spell pierce or daze is better.
try cutting up preordain. I think the thing is
Yeah,
it's a little weird because
yeah.
like it's just a cantrip, but at the same time we have a lot of them, and
Okay.
we have to be mindful of the fact that they have a diverse range of cards that can be problematic.
Mm-hmm.
And Lightning Bolt does something to answer Karn Cyanoverser, or not Cyanoverser, not the other one, the Great Creator.
Yeah.
It did show us Planeswalkers, so having Lightning Bolt in the deck does help against that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know exactly what creatures they're going to play, so I don't really like cutting too many Lightning Bolts.
Right.
And this hand's good.
This is
it's
good.
Not,
Yeah.
it's not like perfect.
It's not amazing, but I mean, we got the wasteland, we got the trop, we got the this is a keep.
We're not losing to Trinsphere or Chalice, which is nice.
Yeah.
Even if something like that sticks, Hooting Mandals is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We'll see how. Yeah, they're also not a land that plays. They're also not a deck that plays the Elvish Spirit Guide or the Simian Spirit Guide. So it's
Right.
kind of nice. Like you know your daisies are gonna get turned on.
Totally. Factory is interesting. Um,
Yeah, that's suggest. Okay, I think it's just Delver Go, right?
yeah. I think it was going to be interesting.
Yeah, it was gonna be interesting until we drew that Delver, because
Yeah.
we're very lucky, as is always the
To be
case.
fair, I think we were perfectly lucky we would have drawn Scalding Dawn. I think that was
Yeah, that's right.
but,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I would
yeah,
have. I should
my
have asked
perception
for.
of luck.
Should have asked the Magic Gods for the Scalding Tarn. Yeah.
Yeah, my perception of luck is like so different than so many people. I just basically don't think luck exists because like every time you're lucky, you're probably gonna be unlucky. So it's just like
I
it
know.
all
No,
kinds
I say that very facetiously because
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, actually, it was Goblin Lackey who shared with us in the Depths Discord like his win rate spreadsheet, and we just had a joke like, like you track 600 matches and you had 312 on the play and 306 on the draw, so obviously it's rigged, right?
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, we're feeling Wasteland just to send them a
Oh
message.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. Oh, I don't even know why I did that.
Yep, we're
This,
kind of chatting. So you are gonna Wasteland them anyway. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, it wasn't meant to be like a taunt or anything. I just
no,
totally,
I know
yeah.
we sometimes it's hard to be focused. A lot's going on here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of distracting you with my talk about luck. So,
Yeah.
but overall, the situation is still
It's
pretty
still
fine.
okay. I mean, yeah, the days now pitches to force, so it's not like terrible. We can top deck a lot of things.
So yeah, I might actually just consider pitching Brainstorm to Force because when we find a land, it's kind of believable that it's not unreasonable to expect it to be a fetch land,
Hmm.
and then we'll just play Hooting Mandrills and hold up days.
This is now really good because now we got the second wasteland for like.
Yeah, Wastelanding City's weird, but might not be bad,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's okay.
Well, now we can pitch days.
Yeah,
I think we waste them again, right? There's no reason
I
not to.
agree. They haven't done anything. We still have Force Wolf for the first spell. It's realistic that that's actually their last land because why would they play that?
Right.
Unless they have another City of Traders.
Yeah.
And they definitely showed us that they aren't willing to play City of Traders early because they played Wasteland Missions Factory. So this makes sense. Now we're just going to rely on our Delver for a minute here.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Okay.
go
We're
the
at.
distance.
Yeah. There's a very good chance of that.
If we have to force will something, then that means a fetch land off the top will allow us to cast Hooting Mandrills. So that's not bad. Also, they might just not have another land.
There's almost nothing that we don't want to force will at this point. Like everything they play right now would be bad for us. It's just their whole deck is designed on that. So.
Well, that's not necessarily true because
Lightning Greaves I don't care, but you know what I mean.
Greaves and Chalice don't actually matter here.
Oh, that's true. Chalice no longer matters. Like
Trinity still does because it means we can't cast spells for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, they don't have another land. So
should I be bemoaning our bad luck that we haven't drawn a land?
yeah, I think that's where we should go. Yeah. Am I the least lucky Magic player in the world?
Yeah. I'm super unlucky We're super unlucky right now. So the question is, what do we? I think we pitch Daze maybe, or even Lightning Bolt.
I can see Delver being fine because it's just a blue card. We have another threat that we're going to cast pretty safely.
Yeah.
And Lightning Bolt cuts a turn off the clock.
The only argument I can see for discarding Daze is like to try and level them into thinking that we don't have a Daze anymore. But I don't think. Oh, that's interesting. So that's actually probably the best possible card they could have drawn.
Yeah, they probably had that in their hand. I would just let that resolve.
And counter whatever they do next.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess Voltaic Key would be the scariest of that.
Yeah.
But
I've done that so many times, like the monolith into Voltaic Key and just wait for the key and counter it. Or Mystic Forge, that's also something to...
Totally. Yeah, we are in a fine spot considering that we don't have lands, but we can't really afford to...
The tradition continues.
Yeah.
I love it. At this point, Arcanist doesn't really matter anymore, so I think we can pitch it.
Yeah, he discard to me. Hopefully they cast a 4-drop. Although I have to imagine they have some amount of 3s in hand.
Yeah. Come on. My kingdom for a land right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay, okay, it's starting to get a little scary.
yeah. Hoping they can only play one card a turn.
Yeah, they're probably going to double on this turn, and next turn they'll probably,
Okay.
unfortunately, have to force
They
that
have to force that because there's
if we
like,
want to be able to cast any spells.
yeah,
We can't force it otherwise.
yeah. Now we're in a little bit of a vulnerable spot, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
We could still just ride the Delver out, but it's like we don't know what they have. Oh yeah, well, it's nothing we can do.
Okay,
There.
well, no more spells.
No more spells, yeah. For us, for them, it's fine.
Can we actually delve through the Trinisphere? Well, it doesn't really matter, but
Yeah, we could. I've done it before, so you're actually technically can play it for under 3.
okay.
Yeah, so that actually would be a very good draw. Although at this point it doesn't matter anymore. Like we'll have 2 turns, so.
Yeah.
Can Karn actually kill a Delver? Oh, that would be able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Okay, we need to. Yeah, I don't think there's much. I don't think we can actually do anything now. Yeah, the land
No,
finally
we
came.
should be dead. If they didn't have the second Trinisphere, we could have killed them, but
Yeah.
the band should be dead.
It's the wrong color land too. I think we just concede, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we drew Trop, they couldn't really attack into us, so that would give us a chance.
Well, we had we had like 6 turns to find a land, and we didn't. It's all good.
Yeah,
So
totally.
based on that, does that change our boarding plan at all?
I still didn't see any creatures that died to lightning bolt, so I could be more coaxed into setting out another lightning bolt here. I think all the threats are good. All of our counter magic is good. I guess it's just, do we want another cantrip or something else in our sideboard over this lightning bolt?
I yeah, I'm not really sure anymore because like the third preordain isn't amazing, and having a lightning bolt is good for like the flashback, faster kills or getting rid of a thought not seer or worm coil engine. Like so, I'm not.
Yeah, and killing planeswalkers is definitely still important.
Vapor Snag is actually suddenly like a possibility now. I think because of worm coil, but
It is a little better because of that, but we do have
it's very
Oko,
situational
which
still.
likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have Oko, which likes Worm Coil. We have a Blade Ancient Grudge to maybe manage it a little bit. I think we should be okay. I think this configuration is good.
Yeah. Okay. I can see a case for maybe cutting a spell Pierce on the draw. Oh, actually, no. I'm on the play. What am I talking about? Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I also like against the deck that's trying to resolve Karn and Smokestack. I don't think like you're basically gonna want all your spell pierces.
Oh, this is unfortunate because I think this is almost like a borderline keep, right?
I think it would be if we didn't have the Snow Island in our deck, but because we have Island, I think this is a very good hand.
Oh, I see. I see. For turn 1 ponder off the island. Okay.
Yes, because the biggest fear is that they.
Oh, really?
They
I think it's a keep even if you don't have the basic land in the deck, but I don't know.
I think it's very close. It probably is still a keep. I think it's a snapperoonie
Yeah.
with the island. It's a question otherwise because we are still living life on the edge if we find a second land. Because if we don't,
we're good.
Not great.
Yeah.
That
So
is good. That is good.
I think let me see here. Is there a way to stack it so the Delver can natural flip? Yes. If we put Lightning Bolt on the bottom, we can do that. But then we're gonna play the Dreadhorde Arcanist 100% of the time, so it doesn't.
So the only reason this matters, I think, is because if we have to daze on turn 1, then we can replay the island, play the Delver, and transform the Delver off the Lightning Bolt.
Yeah. So we still want to do that. So Lightning Bolt on the bottom, right?
Yeah, and I think regardless, Lightning Bolt are what's card here. Like we definitely want the land, and then we have to decide between the Delver and the Bolt, and I think Delver's a little better. So, so I think regardless is what we would do. We are probably just going to play Arcanist next turn.
Yeah.
But if they chalice us, then
even the chalice we probably don't do anything because we have the grudge, so it's really nice.
Totally.
No, you're right. I feel like I need to message Bob later. It's like, yeah, the island was a game changer, at least in this league, you know. Yeah. So I think we talked about just letting this go, right?
Yeah, I
Because we can
think
daze
so.
any follow up play anyway. It doesn't.
The only risk associated with this is if they wasteland our volcanic island, because then we might not be able to age. That being
Yeah.
said, the upside is pretty high. That
Yeah.
means we get the both of our days in
I think
land.
we let this go because we do want to like try to sculpt that our game plan. But
Yeah, we want to develop the Alchemist this turn, and if we don't get wastelanded, then we will be able to daze something.
mhm.
We will be able to integrate the Chalice, and Dreadnought Alchemist is going to give us a lot of value off this partner. So
Yeah. Oh, I see. So you're saying like maybe play the grudge this turn if we really want to play it safe.
no, I think sure we could play really safe and do
No,
that.
no,
I think this
play
turn
to
is
win.
totally fine to do this.
Yeah.
Yep, play to win. Um, again, Wasteland's the only thing that really bothers us here.
Right. I
To be fair, it bothers us a lot, but
yeah. Yeah, there's a case to be made for like if they play incorrectly, like maybe just like dazing anything. But then no, but we have to give them credit for not for if they have wasteland, they're gonna wasteland first. So there's no
yeah, or they're gonna play it first to play around days.
right. If they play something off the wasteland, then yeah, we can potentially. No, actually no. We're gonna blow up the chalice no matter what.
They could go play Wasteland, tap Ancient Tomb for 2 mana, cast a spell. That's probably because here's step one. Okay, they're
Okay.
wasting us. This is
Yeah.
the worst case, but we still just need to draw any red source and we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Or Force of Will would also be okay. That is not, but
Yeah. Okay. That's like basically what we thought might happen, but so be it.
yep, I think it was worth it for the upside. There is some argument to whether we were supposed to cast Delver last turn because then we'd be able to not fetch.
Mm-hmm.
And also, no, we couldn't play the Delver last turn because we had
No.
the Chalice in play. So, yep, okay. So I guess the only two decision points that I think we could have changed was whether we daze the Chalice, which I don't think was right, and whether we Ancient Grudge the
Yep.
Chalice. But I also think that's playing too safe, as we discussed. So
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think we're gonna have to.
we can't. They have 1 mana floating.
We can't actually well we can't do it. So okay, but it's okay. We'll have a window we'll have a window in that one turn where they how do I put it? Like we'll be able to grudge as soon as we find the Volk.
Yeah. Yeah, once we find the red, we can definitely kill the Chalice, start to do something with the Rockness. We'll lose that red land to the Wasteland.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, so based on how this played out, it would have been better for us to daze the Chalice, then play the land, play the Delver of Secrets, hold up daze, and then we're not going to get Wastelanded, then we can Ancient Guard follow up. And maybe the best justification for that is that Ancient Guard is probably going to be really good against their deck regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think the only thing that punished us was Wasteland. So
Yeah.
that to me, this is a decision I would have made, and I feel pretty confident that it's at least a pretty
I still feel pretty good with it. Like if I had to run it back, like 10 times, I'd probably still do it. Do that, 8 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what we have.
Was pretty safe, and all we needed to do was draw land. So
yeah. Yeah, and yeah, the only unfortunate thing is that we kind of broadcast days because I have my incorrect tapping, but that's
right,
okay.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't think this days is gonna get that much value anyway. Most of the deck is 4s and 3s.
There's the metal worker.
Okay, there's the metal worker.
Yeah, so we're gonna expect.
So our best hope is that they don't have anything too explosive in hand.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't think we can even. Yeah, there's not even point to attacking. So, okay, I don't think there's anything we can cast.
Yeah, probably just Alchemist. I don't think we're gonna need the second one in this game.
Yeah, it's important not to be too results oriented in those kind of decisions.
Definitely. One coil engine and Stafford domination. So I
Yeah.
actually think we're just dead, right? Because they have infinite mana. Is that the way that works?
Uh,
Okay, I guess they're not doing that.
okay, I
But
think.
I also think we're just dead to one coil. So
Hmm. Yeah, with the opponent's kind of deck, like they have to jump through a lot of hoops to get their game plan. So okay, that's
right.
interesting now. So we could there could be a world where we just smash the worm coil, right? No.
I think once we fetch, we're going to lose the land because they have Wasteland
Yeah.
Crucible. So if we just kill the one coil, we still lose to the two freezes,
So
realistically.
we basically have to go for the chalice and just try to find
Yeah, I think
something.
we have to go for the chalice, and then we have to try to draw land on the following turn.
Yeah.
Uh, the Staff of Domination is scary because
Well, I guess we are we gonna sack the Dreadhorde Arcanist just so that we can get that value ponder.
no, I don't think so. I think they're probably going to
Okay.
attack with one
So
coil.
in that case, we're just gonna pass, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Probably going to Wasteland us the turn.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just to force us to.
Yeah, I guess Staff of Domination needs
Oh,
6
interesting. It didn't do that.
mana in order to. Okay, I guess
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Now we're going deep. It could be anything now. It could be like staff. It could be I don't know some crazy planeswalker like the Ugin or something.
Yeah. Okay, so another chalice.
Oh, okay. You called it.
Okay.
There's nothing we can do here in response.
Well, I wouldn't say I necessarily called it. They were really.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been playing Magic for, you said, what, 8 to 10 years or something like that?
Yeah, it's been a minute at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So, these are cards that I remember from back in the day. Like, I started playing competitive in Legacy in 2008.
Okay, yeah.
And
So
that was like, yeah, these cards were around back then, I believe.
you had the 4 Tomoboy Toon Soccer Team
Yeah,
America.
Team America. That was like I got into the format with Eva Green, then I realized, okay, I think blue
cool.
having blue is cool, so
Yeah.
I think I have to not block it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they kind of missed out on a little bit of value, although it doesn't matter by not wastelanding my fetch.
Yeah, they did get the land because they played the City of Traders, so like maybe they valued the land.
All right.
They're not going to play the second chalice. That's interesting. Okay, so
Yeah, we're gonna
we have to kill the chalice in order to really have a chance here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, and they can untap the staff and untap the one coil when we attack.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful about that.
I see. They can untap target creature. Oh, I see. That's why they so they did leave that up. Okay, that's actually the best possible draw, right? Because we can now flash it back. Can they do something to save the They have 3 mana. No, they have 4 mana. So they can tap target creature. They can stop my Arcanist. But
so I think realistically, they're stopping the Arcanist from the ability to untap the one coil because they'll just kill it. I think we have to kill Crucible because we just won't be able to cast spells for the rest of the game. They're just going to keep wastelanding us.
Yeah.
And because of that, we need to be. We also know they have another chalice in the end, so we're kind of incentivized to find a forceful. So I think I'd start just turn with a ponder.
Okay, so play out the tropical island, right?
It does.
No.
We're gonna play this turn anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay,
but
so we're gonna play the ponder first.
Yeah, I think we need to find a forceful. Things need to go very right here.
Yeah.
But
we have 3 minutes left, so we gotta figure this out.
Warping Whale.
Okay. There's nothing we can do there unless we want them to unless we want to try to daze just to
This
Just to,
means we get to no, I wouldn't. This means we get to attack with Dreadnought on this because they
yep,
can't untap them.
that's true. That's true.
So
So now we're gonna play the trop and we're gonna attack with. No, we
yeah,
attack first, right? We attack
yeah,
first.
sure. It is better to attack first. We are,
Just to
on
see.
a slight target trade here.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna ponder off the. Oh, there's only one. We can only flashback ponder.
yeah.
Yeah, that warping whale is
So
actually fine.
yeah, totally, not a big deal. I'm actually shocked they didn't kill our Dreadnought in this because
Yeah.
we get the ponder anyway.
Yeah, they could have just tapped it down and just grinded us out. Oh, force of will. Okay, so
Well, and lands. So this is
good.
one.
So we top force of will basically.
We keep Force Will, and then we play Trop, and we Angel Grudge Crucible now, and then we pass. We're
Okay.
probably gonna force the stupid thing, the Chalice of the Void. And then our next problem is dealing with one coil engine and Staff of Domination, which is going to be very difficult, no doubt.
Yeah.
But
We'll have to do one issue at a time. Okay, so we're gonna. All right, let's see if we can close this out in 2 minutes. We'll see. It'll be challenging.
I think realistically we're losing by a decent amount, but we have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we reveal?
What are they
Another
revealing?
one coil, Chalice, and Forge Master. Wow.
So.
Boy,
Okay.
their hand is stacked. Oh, they have infinite mana now.
Okay.
Oh no, they activated the wrong mode. Does that matter?
Let's see.
I don't think it does. I think they still have infinite mana.
Yeah, unfortunately we can't F6. We need to counter whatever they do. Okay.
Yeah, they have infinite mana, so this is actually not a bad place to concede once they demonstrate it.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they tap it for 6. They have 3 effects in hand. They pay 1. They tap Staff Domination to pay 3 mana to untap Metalworker. And then they untap Staff Domination with that, and then they generate 2 mana every single time they do this.
I know, but what are they going to do with that mana? Do they have Do they have? Are they drawing cards?
Staff Domination allows them to draw their whole deck because then you can tap
and then they can
and then pay 1 and untap it.
Okay.
So they actually have access to all the cards in their deck, and then they'll play it off of it.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't. They didn't play. They didn't even play a spell yet, so we can't do anything there. Okay. Maybe I should just F6 and make them play it out.
Yeah, that's fair. You can, your time and account, you can do whatever you want. You force them to show you that they are going to do it.
Yeah, they have maybe like I don't know what's that card that like Walking Ballista. I don't know what it is. How are they going to kill me?
This is an okay time. I'm going to go get a drink though. So
oh yes, please do. Yeah. Oh no, I should have countered that. Okay. Well, I made a quasi mistake because I didn't counter their second worm coil, but then they followed up with a chalice, so I had to counter that. It might be too little at this point anyway, so I think I have to actually keep this stuff back to block or I'm dead. So
yeah.
Okay, so I think I play the Mandrills and the Delver.
Yep, seems like as good of an option as any.
Oh, actually no. I mean, I could. It might be worth attacking just to see if I can get another forcible or something.
The problem is if we attack to get another force of will, we lose a better rockness, and then we have to double jump block. And then even if we found a force of will, it's basically force of will 2 blue cards in hand versus double one coil engine that we can't really answer effectively.
Yeah. Well, I guess we just have to do that.
Yep. They did choose not to draw their deck, which I guess was a time concern.
Yeah.
Reasonable. If that was a little earlier,
I think we're just dead, right? I don't think.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's probably good to concede there.
Yeah, we definitely had a couple of decisions we made that could have swung the game one way or another. But it is worth considering that we didn't draw another land for a while there. So, and because Wasteland was so bad for us, maybe it was correct just to Days Callus to play the Delver Secrets, because that is playing around the Wasteland. And I guess there's some question, and I'm mostly just thinking of it in terms of like my own processing of information, opposed to, oh, we could have done that and won the game. Instead of like thinking result oriented, it's like, okay, this is how it played out. Was the way I assessed the situation incorrect? Yep. Maybe a Delver is just better than, like, just as good as the Dreaded Arcanist, and we get to play around the Wasteland, which that could definitely be true.
Yeah, I still think it was mostly correct, because yeah, I mean that was the best possible point to play the Arcanist, like to snowball, and yeah, there's just okay. So we're on the draw. I think this is actually kind of dangerous, to be honest.
It's a little risky. We don't have a threat. We don't have another land, but we do have 3 cantrips.
Yeah,
we're not dying on turn 1
yeah,
in
we
most
have a counter. Okay, I think we have to keep this, even if it's not great.
Yep, I would keep this. It's not the most effective hand, but it's certainly not bad.
Yeah. They didn't review a Chancellor, so I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna ponder, I believe. That's the
Yeah, I would ponder here. It's not like we have a fetch land to make the ponder better in the future, and we are just looking
that's
for
pretty good. So I guess we can actually just if we want to play around discard, which is unlikely, but we can basically just do it in this order. Just draw on, we can draw Tarn this turn and
I would draw Tarn this turn because of the discard rate.
Yeah, there's no reason not to do that.
There's very few cards that are going to punish us for having the Scalding Tarn in hand. Yeah, they could him swap us, and we care about the Tarn. Like, technically, we care about the Tarn more than the Vandals, but it's
no, if they him, we're gonna definitely force negate it. So I think we're okay. Yeah. Oh, another end step brainstorm. Another one we're gonna let it slide.
Yeah, not even on the end step main phase, but I guess there's no.
Oh, it was a. Oh yeah. I mean, why bother winning that extra second, right? So
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's hard to determine what they're doing so far. I would guess.
Yeah, it could be showing sneak and show. It could be like a bad, like a suboptimally played. Okay, it's Delver, I guess.
Yep, that's what it looks like. I don't actually think the end step brainstorm's as bad as people talk about. I actually think it's a pretty decent.
Oh no, I don't subscribe to the like this is always right or always wrong. So I don't think about things that way when I play Magic. So this is interesting because I think there's a case to just go Tarn pass because we know we're going to get another land, right? And that's actually going to be important.
Yeah, because we look at it on top, I definitely wouldn't want the fetch, and I think we could actually consider wastelanding them here.
Yeah, that's another. That was my other line too. Yeah, how do you feel
fall about that? A little bit behind if they just go like land Delver Secrets. That's not great, but at the same time, 1, we might just catch them. 2, we don't want to fetch the turn anyway.
Okay.
And 3, we know we're going to be able to remove the, at least have the chance to remove the Delver Secrets because of So I actually kind of like this line. We basically gave them the play.
Yeah.
But
hey, you got me convinced. I like that.
Yeah, let's see what they have. They set it up. So it's transforming. They're playing a land.
Yep.
Okay, not bad. We have a cheap threat in hand that we're going to be able to cast pretty safely. And
we don't have to do it right away. So do we just try to boat this turn or boat on their turn? Maybe
I would bolt on that because we force negation is out.
We have force negation. All right, so let's do that.
I don't think the thing with force negation in Delver Mirrors is it doesn't really trade for a lot of the cards that matter. So I'm usually a little bit more prone to trading my force negations on protection spells on Delver Secrets or removal spells.
Yeah.
because we're never going to be able to answer like the Arcanists or the Hootie Mandals or whatever.
This is
It does
also
answer
nice because if
Oko.
they want a daze, then it's setting them
Right.
back too.
Totally.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that was
Not
clean.
bad for us.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's not even that bad if they wasteland us this turn. So.
Yet we'd still get to play Hootie Mandals.
Oh, really? So you wouldn't
Days.
you in that hypothetical you wouldn't like try to dig for another land.
Depending on what we drew, if we didn't draw land, it might be worth us trying to dig for something else.
Oh,
But
they're going for the. Oh, I thought they're going for Hooting
like a
Mandrills.
Mandal.
Yeah. So
I
do
like it.
we? Is I don't think we can negate this, right?
No, because now we see that they have green mana. Fortification does trade for Oko. So
Mhm. Okay, so we know they have Brainstorm in hand still. They just shuffled, which is
and
a
we're gonna get
positive
it on
sign.
land. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So now we just waste them, right? It's easy.
I would, yes, because I think it's pretty likely they have a Force of Will.
I think we waste them and then we ponder, right?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now we're doing some stuff. Yeah, I like all these cards. I could see us just like drawing the wasteland this turn and just like we're not in a huge rush to get the Oko out because we just want to deny them and just beat down with Mandrills. So
if we play Mandals next turn, we're gonna fetch away one of these cards, and I think the worst card for us right now is Volcanic Island.
Yep.
So
let's just go Volcanic Island on the bottom basically.
Yeah. Volcanic Island is something we wouldn't be too unhappy to draw.
Mm-hmm.
Like theoretically, the more lands, the better with the way our hand is shaking up.
Yeah,
But
if something really weird happened, like they started wastelanding us for 2 turns, then otherwise I think we're okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the only world in which I can.
We're in the clear, so I think we just play we don't have to play around days, so we just basically fetch Trop and Mandrills, right?
I would fetch Trop and then Preordain because now we're looking for days because we don't have to play around days.
Okay.
I think if we had to play around days, let's say they just play a land, I would just play Mandrills and then Preordain. But because now days is so good for us, I would just Preordain first.
So Preordain first. I hope I haven't misunderstood you. I think I could see bottoming both or keeping one.
I kind of don't hate keeping one.
Yeah.
Because we can just pitch the Force Negation kind of freely.
Exactly.
And it doesn't allow us. Like,
yeah, it pitches to the other. Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna Mandrills because there's I see. Okay, I see what you mean now. Sorry, it's been a long day.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Okay. I see. Because if we get the days, then it would have been like just excellent.
Yeah, totally.
Let's just take a Preordain, I think.
Yeah, seems good.
Yeah, and then we're set up for Oko next turn too. I mean, oh, okay. So I guess we force back.
I'd force back. Hootie Mandrills puts a pretty substantial clock on them. They would need another
force back pitching the other force, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Oko is very nice. There's almost not going to be a world where I don't do that next turn. I mean, it's highly dependent on what they do, but if I could do it, I would.
Yeah, if they just play land Hootie Mandrills,
mm-hmm.
They get a little interesting.
Yeah.
And now we have to consider if we're going to play around like a daze or something.
Like a daze or a spell pierce. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, oh, they already exiled Brainstorm, so it's not. Yeah. Okay. So what do we do here?
I think
let's attack first and just see.
Yeah, attack first. Gives us a second.
There's like a 0 amount chance they would Vapor Snag, but if they did, we could wasteland them. Okay. So now the decision comes. Do we just? I mean, because we could Oko next turn with
the ability to play 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like they have more lands. I kind of like just almost casting Brainstorm here.
Just Brainstorm off. I mean, Brainstorm. Maybe. Do we play a land first to play around Spell Pierce?
No. I think we're happy with us.
We're way ahead, right? So I guess we just like if we get into an Arcanist, we're really ahead. So I think we can Brainstorm off the Trop, right? Because we have another Trop anyway.
We want to find the Mandrills. We want to find. Okay, these cards are pretty
These
good.
are good cards. So we're gonna definitely play a land this turn. So we're gonna play Trop this turn, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And so I would just put both Okos on top. We don't really want to shuffle, and our next turn is going to be play land, play Oko with Scorpius up, and
Yep.
then if they do something there, then we'll play Oko with Scorpius
Okay,
up
so
on the following
we're
turn.
not. Yeah, we don't need to ponder. We just
Yeah,
wait it out.
I don't think there's any good reason. I would pretty strongly consider Spell Pierce a decent number of cards here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's basically free for us, tempo wise now.
Yeah, they're probably just going to play Tarmogoyf.
Uh, you called it.
Nothing.
All right.
Yep, nothing we can do, but this is okay because now we can go play
Oko.
Wasteland, play Oko with Spell Pierce up,
Yep.
and then just try to Oko the Tarmogoyf and then
Yep.
attack them. Or defend Oko, either way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we're gonna elk them.
Yeah, I would
I think
definitely
we
up the
can.
Goyf.
If we elk, yeah, it won't. I mean, they can hit us back with the elk and the lightning bolt, but then we can also spell pierce that. So.
Right, and we also have another Oko on top. So
Oh,
I
that's
like
true.
just attacking.
Oh, you mean just elking, right?
Yeah, elking and then attacking with movements.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. I almost forgot the second Oko. So it's like this Oko has suddenly become expendable, which is a very nice luxury to have.
I think the stream froze. Yeah, I'm stuck on 18.
Oh, really? Okay. Let me hold on a sec. Hey, okay, I'm back. So I'm gonna try turning on the screen share again.
All right, let's give it a shot.
All right. Are we back?
It looks better, yes.
Okay. So they're at 8 life.
Cool, good. I think our situation is very, very good. We're not going to be playing around days with the spell pierce, but
Mm-hmm.
even then, they still need quite a lot in order to get us here.
Yeah. Well, playing. Yeah. If they. Yeah. I think we spell pierce this, right?
I would let that resolve.
Okay.
And
Because
here's
we
why.
can kill. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's kind of yeah. It's hard for me to decide in these
So,
spots.
so let's say hypothetically we spell pierce, and it seems logical they have a date, right? They haven't cast one yet, and they were stuck on lands.
Mm.
So let's say we spell pierce, and then they daze returning to Tropical Island. Then they play Tropical Island again. Now we're getting them more value out of their finite resources.
Mm.
And right now, if they cast a lightning bolt on our Oko, now we can spell pierce it. And if they daze, it's not quite as bad because the amount of value they're getting is so devastating for us. They probably will daze,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay.
Oh.
Or
Okay.
or not. Or they'll just lightning bolt again.
Or there's lane bolt again. Yeah, that's actually really good. And given given the second Oko, but imagine if we didn't have the second Oko, you would have done the same, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That doesn't factor into it.
Yep, not in that decision. And now we can attack for 4. And then
We play the Oko off the non wasteland and then wasteland their trop, right?
yep, if that plays around days.
Because we're definitely going to tag. We definitely want to tag one of their lands this turn.
Most certainly. And we also definitely want to play Oko playing around days. So,
There's probably no case to be made for just fishing for the bolt and killing them, right?
no.
Okay.
We can do that at any point.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm just trying to ask like the questions for which I know the answer for, but
Yep.
okay. So now we're gonna make a food, and we're gonna wasteland the trop.
Yep.
Okay, we have 2 attackers next turn, so they have to do
there's
something.
2 lethal threats. We also have the ability just to kill them at any point with the ponder, with a lightning bolt. I mean.
Okay.
Okay, they had enough.
So based on them seeing green, I think Submerge is a worthy addition here. It's why we're doing it. As you said, 3 blasts are probably good. Veil is again like a borderline card. We can consider it. and I think
Yeah,
Sylvan.
I don't like Veil quite as much here.
Okay, like compared to Blue Red Delver matchups, right?
Right.
Okay. I think Sylvan Library is potentially an include, even if it's like not great. It's like same reason why I don't like Thoughtseize and Delver Mirrors. It's like it's kind of like temple neutral or negative card, right?
I think the board presence is important enough that I almost never bring in Sylvan Library.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Clothes
I
is
think closest, yeah,
yeah.
it's just a very sticky threat.
Clothes
It's
is
pretty
like you
reliable.
literally just the only thing you can do is like force a will it, or like you have to like brazen
Right.
bore and then counter it.
Yep, and also they showed us Tomagloith, so I'd probably bring in Vapor Snag.
Yeah. So I think we have to keep in all the removals. As bad as Chain Lightning is probably in this matchup, I think it's important.
Yeah,
I think the
Force
force
Negation
negation
definitely isn't that good. I'd bring out one Oko on the draw, especially because we have closes.
Yeah, we'll probably bring out another force. I think the dazes are actually better than forces, even on the draw.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, I
I think
almost never cut
a
Daisy.
spell pierce might be okay to cut and or a preordain. What do you think?
I could see either one Spell Pierce, one Preordain, or one Forcible. I could see going down to two Forcibles.
Okay,
Because you don't really want to trade like 2-for-1 on too many cards, but there are a lot of scary cards. So then I could still see. I think the Spell Pierce is probably fine. It really only trades with Oko.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have 3 Power Blasts.
Right. Yeah, this is a matchup where actually Flusterstorm is probably better than Spell Pierce, but it's just a meta call when we build a 75.
I think that used to be true, but now with Oko, you do still need to have.
That's a haymaker. You have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm good with this.
Yep, I agree. I think this is good.
I'm starting to the basic island is starting to grow on me a little bit, even though
it's
only
been pretty
like,
good in a lot of these.
Even though it's only been like 3 rounds.
Yeah.
I think this is a key. We're gonna play the long game here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is fine. We technically have an answer for Dreadhorde. We have 2. So I think in Delver matches, the first you want to find answers more than threats in the first few turns, because
answers rather than threats,
everything,
and then stabilize.
Yeah, you want to resolve a threat a little bit later in the game because
okay, I think this is a snap waste, right?
The only consideration, so they multiply.
Yeah,
they could have Stifle in their deck because they showed us Tomahawk.
We do it on their turn.
Yeah, that's the way to play around that, and I think that's worthwhile.
Okay, because that may just win us the game if it works. Yeah. Are they gonna end-step Brainstorm? Please.
They might.
I hope not, because that's really bad. Like especially in this situation, like if I were the player that's anyway, I don't think there's a
I think
world
it's okay here because they might not have another land, and they need to cast their spells.
Yeah. Well, they did a little pump fake. They were thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, they are doing it. So, in that case, I just wasteland now, right?
Don't wasteland in response to the brainstorm, because if they have a daze, they can daze their own brainstorm and save their volcanic island. Unless you want them to counter their own brainstorm.
Yes, of course. That's like the next level stuff. Yeah, so let this resolve, and then we can decide if we want to wasteland it now.
We'll definitely wasteland on the end step then.
Yeah.
Because now they can't stifle
You're right.
us.
You're right. I totally didn't even see that marginal line. There's like why give them even that 1% possibility, right?
Right. Yeah, and like I think us wastelanding them is more important than their brainstorm not resolving.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll see what they have.
Yeah.
They multiply 5. They cast the brainstorm there. If they play a land, I guess the thing we're still most cold to is a Tomagloith, but it's not too bad.
So that is interesting. Okay, that's a decent draw. So let's see. There is a case for we don't have a brainstorm. There's a case for a basic Highland Ponder. There's also a case for like just blasting the Delver now.
Yeah, I agree with both of those assessments. I think the thing is, if we blast a Delver and they daze,
we're really behind, right? Or I mean, we're not developing our hand either. So maybe the Ponder's better.
Well, the thing is, it's not necessarily we're not developing our hand. We just don't have another removal set up because they days we'd be ahead on mana. We'd have 2 cantrips. Our situation would actually be pretty good. It's just that's a world where we lose to a single 3/2 flyer. That being said, we do have a lot of answers in our deck. Oko is technically an answer. If they do days, I'm almost happy because we do have that mana advantage. So I would actually, I'm prone to Volcanic Island Red Blast here. Just on
Okay.
there.
Yeah, you're right. Like it's sort of like it's hard for me to articulate, but I feel like that's probably the right thing to do right now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like a matter of.
you want to daze it? Sure. Actually, no. Do we want to daze back? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think the risk here is if we don't ever find a removal spell for Delver of Secrets. Now, that's going to happen in some amount of games, but I think the upside of having the mana advantage and the days in hand is going to like win out in the large percentage of games.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be a lot better for us in most games.
Right, and they just bricked on the flip, which is even like it makes this.
Yep, so
me feel
even
a little
lot
better.
more time. Yeah. Totally.
Okay, that's really good. So now we can. There's actually a lot of decisions here.
There are. It's funny because my mind instantly just goes to play Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Yeah.
But
the question is with what land, and like there's also other things too, you know.
Yeah, I would just play Tropical Island, play Dreadhorde Arcanist because one, they'd have to have another Days or Lightning Bolt, which is fine because now we're forcing them to answer our cards. 2, we're gonna curve up.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go Dreadhorde. Then we're just gonna play Oko, and our situation is gonna be really good. And 3, if all else fails, if the Dreadhorde fails and the Ponder fails, we still have. And if the Dreadhorde fails and then the Oko fails, we still have double Ponder and Days.
Yeah.
So their lack of resources, like they found the Chain Lightning, their old Volcanic Chain Lightning, but it's just not quite that big of a deal for us at the moment. So.
Yeah, I guess we just.
Yeah, I guess it just resolves, right?
Yeah, I was considering maybe making them like use the extra mana, but no, we want Oko. We want flexibility because we could draw into a lot of things that help us come back.
Yeah, we're also still concerned about them having Oko. That's a possibility.
Yeah. That's a very good draw.
A great draw. So I think this turn I might have considered playing Oko, but now we can kill their Delver pretty safely and make sure Oko isn't under pressure.
Do we not expose the Tarn yet so that we can potentially like ponder into a wasteland?
That is not. Let me see.
Because
that's interesting. I think that's correct-ish. I'm just thinking if so we'd be playing around Spell Pierce by playing the Tarn, right? Like we'd go Scalding Tarn, Lightning Bolt your creature, then cast Ponder. Now we're playing around Spell Pierce by resolving a
No, if they have Spell Pierce, then we have Days too. So it's like
that's true. The question is, do we want to use our Days on a Spell Pierce? I think it'd probably be okay here. I like your line. I would probably just Bolt first, then cast Ponder, and try to find a wasteland. Yeah. I think we're okay trading a Days for a Spell Pierce. And because Wasteland is just so high, such a high.
Okay, this is actually quite good. I think we do want to keep. It's just the question is how to stack it. I think we draw into the Pyroblast and just play Scalding Tarn, right?
Yep. And
Tropical Island should be on top. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we want to draw Trop, so next turn we can go Trop, tap Volk, Trop, and hold up Pyroblast because the end goal is to have 2 Volcanic and 2 Tropical Islands in play, and this is the best way to set that up.
Yeah, we're doing pretty decently at this point. They have 3 cards in hand. They just drew 1. Sure.
We'll happily Daze a Tomahawk, and if they have Hooting Mandrills, it's slightly more annoying, but
yeah. Okay, that's a Daze.
Yep, I would Daze that.
No,
we're gonna just like Oko Elk it, but
yeah, we're gonna bounce the Volcanic Island, I think.
Yeah, seems good.
And yeah, we can even Pyroblast back if they really.
Yeah, and I think because we return the land to our hand, we could actually just shuffle away the land on top if we want. I think this is okay
Oh,
still,
oh, oh,
but
my bad. Yeah, I should. Oh,
no
jeez.
worries.
Yeah.
I think this is totally justifiable.
So is there a case to be like Okoing next turn, just so that we can play around days and also have the Power Blast backup?
They have 2 cards in hand, so I, I think it might be a little too conservative,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's probably fine because we can ponder this turn and just like find any threat and we're happy. So and then we
Okay.
get to keep
So
holding up the Power
we're
Blast.
gonna fetch Volk first, right, before the Ponder.
Um, I would actually not because while we know we have one bad card on top, if we just find one card we want, we still want to keep the option to shuffle. We
Yep.
don't want to like
Oh,
pigeonhole
actually,
us
the
for any reason.
Preordain might be good to keep now, right?
Yeah, I think Preordain's probably fine.
Okay. And then
And
we're
then we
gonna
can fetch up Volcanic Island and just cast Preordain before we play any lands.
right.
Because we're still looking for Wasteland. We're happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking for Hooting Mandrills. That would be a good card.
Okay, that's
Not those
bottom.
cards.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Okay, not
And
a
then
bad
we
draw.
play
So,
and then we play Volcanic Island Pass because
yep,
we can hold
yep.
up the Pyro. All right, this is the hoping Oko will go the distance game.
Yeah, I think there's good reason to think it would.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
They could
little.
have Pyroblast, which would be
Yeah,
annoying. But
yeah, it is unfortunate. Yeah, having the them having the Scalding Tarn now makes it like they can get back into a lot more easily because they have 2 red sources. So I'm just trying to think what is the best play here. I think we
I would definitely
Wasteland
play Oko.
play Oko off without play Wasteland and play the Oko and leave Wasteland open, right? Or do we leave Volk open?
That's a good question. I think we leave Volcanic Island open because the thing was like most concerned about.
Force
I
of
guess what are we
Negation is something. Force of Will is
They could
something.
still have Force of Will, Spell Pierce. I think Pyroblasting is worthwhile. We're not denying them from anything
Okay.
overly meaningful.
So then
So
it's probably
I'd play
best
Wasteland.
not to expose Wasteland then, right?
I'm okay
'Cause-
exposing Wasteland. If they Wasteland our Wasteland, that's like okay.
Yeah, I was
Like
just
that
thinking
means they
about
drew
the
that.
I was just thinking about the information,
Yeah, that's fair.
It's maybe thinking too much about it, but yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Well,
that's fine. That's gonna answer it at any point, so
yeah, that's a
that's not
clean
a big
one.
deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So Tomagoyf's the biggest concern for us here.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think Wasteland is okay. Alchemist is
Yep,
fine.
that's fine. We're gonna have to bolt it.
Yeah, we can bolt it after untapping to avoid the days.
Oh, that's very
Oh,
good.
that's a great draw.
We're gonna bolt first, right? Yeah, we're gonna bolt first in case they have like. Oh, they only have 1 card, so they can't even force a will. So, but we're gonna bolt, and then we can still play. We can still play a land and play around days. So I think we're
Yeah,
really...
and I think this turn I would leave up the Wasteland with the plan of Wastelanding them, like because we.
Oh, I see. So
They
we're
could
not.
have-
We're no
they could
longer
have-
like. Yeah, we're no longer caring about the Pyroblast for this turn.
So I guess the question is, do we want to play around Spell Pierce? They haven't had it the whole game. What benefit are we getting from Wastelanding them? Because we have the Power Blast to answer.
I think
Oko?
we are. I think we are benefiting from wastelanding them more so, right?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's. I think I agree with that. It's just so unlikely they have a Spell Pierce. They would have had to draw it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unlikely. It's way more likely they have like Red Elemental Blast.
Okay, so now we're gonna waste the Trop, I think.
Let's do it on their upkeep. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
you're right.
It still plays around Stifle, which I doubt they have. No, they have. They played 2 General Archons. They don't have Stifle in their deck. But nevertheless, maybe they fetch and then we get more information.
So get Tropical Island.
Yeah, that seems good.
Oh, okay. Main phase. Okay, so it's probably Tarmogoyf, but at this point we're okay
Yeah,
with
probably.
it. Arcanist is going to be the most impactful card. Oh, okay,
Silver
well,
Black. Okay.
that's the card that we talked about not bringing in.
Yeah, I'm just so I'm never pleased. I'm never afraid seeing it, and like I understand the appeal
The allure, right?
because it's like things. As I always say, everything trades, and Sylvan Library is a good way to like offset that. But the thing is that everything trades because everything impacts the board. Like
Yeah.
removal kills creatures, and your creatures kill them. So once you add in these cards that aren't cabs cards, that aren't cards that affect the board, it's just like, okay, like what are we really doing here? You're gonna try to like nickel and dime or like
Yeah,
generate
you
a card.
can't really afford to draw extra cards a lot of the time too. So it's just like
Yeah,
it's essentially just an expensive top.
yeah. I think it's fine. You'll get
Oh,
some kind
okay.
of
As I said,
advantage.
that they get an extra
Yeah.
card, so I think they should. Okay, well, there's nothing we can do here. I don't think.
Yep.
No,
Yep. Nope. We're good. We're
Hooting
still
Mandrills
pretty.
would be bad for us, but we have Vapor Snag.
We have Vapor Snag, yeah. So
Okay, that's a very good draw.
okay. Yeah, we're pretty
Because
close to.
they're at a virtual 7. They just they're at a virtual 4. They just don't know it yet.
Right. Yeah, so I guess the worst case for us is they bolt our food and then we draw land,
Yeah,
and then they'll start to get some value off the Sylvan Library. But we still have answers for 3 cards, and again, we have them at a virtual 4. So,
yeah.
and if they don't answer, if they're just like, oh, I'm going to play Hooting Mandrills or Tumblegoyf here, yeah,
No,
then they're
fine.
dead on board. So,
Okay, so we just end step snag it, right?
end step snag, and then we can lightning bolt, and they lose.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it even deals 1 damage. That's nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna end step lightning bolt them. There's no playing around force negation. We probably should, right?
Yep. Yep. Uh,
Oh, we have
no,
pyroblast too.
we can just do it now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just because we have Power Blast, there's no
Yeah.
card.
Otherwise, we can be a little bit more careful. I mean, we have to balance that versus. Wow. Okay. Well, it looks like we're winning the Delver mirrors because
Yeah.
got Mr. Rich Cali here, but the other, I didn't feel that bad about the other ones, to be honest. It was just like, it's just I think we made the right decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we ended up on the wrong decision for what happened, it's not like misplays, it's like judgment calls. And
Yeah.
maybe we made the wrong judgment calls at a certain point, but I basically don't often feel that bad about like the wrong judgment calls because it's just like you're gonna go one way or another depending on what they have. Magic is a game of imperfect information,
Mm-hmm.
so you're just trying to weigh imperfect information against your ability to make decisions about what your cards are and what you think they have. So nothing wrong with that. And the 2 matchups we lost are just like kind of high variance close matchups.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel maybe a little bit behind. Like I feel a little bit, at least a little bit behind in Goblins.
Yeah.
Matchup.
No, Goblins is a scary deck, and I think we're literally playing against like maybe the top Goblin player on Magic Online. Like, I don't think that's
definitely
an
in the top 3.
exaggeration. Yeah.
Yeah. Or top 2, because his teammate in the Double Dash does play too, and he's really good. But,
Okay, in the dark, we're on the play. This looks like a keep, even though we don't have counter magic or cantrips. Do you feel the same?
I agree. This hand is not pretty.
It can go wrong, but yeah. But we have lots.
I would definitely keep this. Yeah, we have 11 cantrips in our deck, all of which are great. Any days, Force Will is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we also just have tons of threats. Even though the Arcanist isn't actually a threat with our hand, eventually it will do something.
It turns into something.
I'll have to kill it. Yeah.
It's funny because like if you replace the Arcanist with Tarmogoyfs in this hand, it would still be roughly the same value, maybe even a little worse, right?
Yeah, like it would require us to draw kind of the same.
Sure, they could play cantrips and stuff. The opponent could, but it's like, okay, they're playing around Stifle. That's
yeah, maybe Storm is my first guess here.
Okay, well, 3rd land isn't the end of the world. Yeah, it could be like Storm, Doomsday, something crazy. I'm always going to be attacking first here. See if they want to Fatal Push me. Nope.
Yeah, it's funny how far Fatal Push has fallen.
Yeah. I've actually considered running Fatal Push of all places, Turbo Depths instead of the 3rd Decay, just because Esper Vial is such a common deck now, and they always name Abrupt Decay with Metal Mage. But I digress. Yeah.
Yeah.
I majorly digress on that one.
Turbo Depths is a cool deck. That's the kind of deck I never really got into. But it's a very cool one.
Well, yeah, the leagues do play out in like maybe 1/3 the time for versus Delver, so that's
Yeah,
actually why I've been playing that a little bit more.
yeah, that's totally fair.
If you're gonna scrub
Yeah,
out of leagues like I am, might as well do it faster.
yeah, I think it's Delver is one of those decks that we're just like talk. Yeah, this is good for us because we just have more of this shit.
Hmm.
But um, like the deck, ooh, that's not bad.
Not
the
bad at all.
The deck is ostensibly like pretty fast,
Hmm.
but there's all of these decisions. So when you're playing it through with somebody, it's just like, oh, we have to decide every single decision we're making with the course of the game.
I
Um,
actually like not playing Oko because they're an abrupt decay deck, so Mandrill is actually going to be big game, right?
yeah, I
We
agree.
could
I,
we
I
could
like
still, yeah. Can we actually play Mandrills this turn? One,
yes,
two. Yeah, so maybe just tap out for that. It seems to be a
yep.
good bet.
That
Okay,
is that is
and
100% what I would do.
probably getting the second trop,
Um,
or maybe even an island. No,
I don't think I'd get Island. I agree on the second chop because we have the
because it
Zoko.
protects our Oko and our Mandrill. No, we already played Mandrills. What am I saying? But
Yeah, I think the second chop's okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
can
think
see it going the other way.
it's more likely that they will be able to kill an Arcanist more than anything else. Although I guess Arcanist and Oko are equally killable given the texture, but Oko can pitch.
Yeah,
So
I really like playing the Mandrills because one, now we have Force Negation up, and two,
we don't have
as you said,
cantrips yet.
they are an abrupt decay deck.
Yeah.
And I really like having
Oh,
uh, Hootie
bug.
Mandrills.
So
Okay,
this looks like a bug. Okay, so yeah, we have to
yeah,
let this go.
yeah, maybe some kind of Alluring deck. I've seen those popping around.
Hmm.
Um,
I even ran into
regardless of like,
Nick Fit yesterday. It's pretty crazy.
oh, interesting. That's fun.
Yeah, it's like Night of the Reliquary and crop rotations and wastelands apparently with veteran explorer. It's just like okay, everything that I
Oh wow,
like in Magic in one deck. I think this is a wasteland first, right?
definitely.
So actually wasteland first. See if they want to decay us, decay the
I
Delver.
think they're gonna decay the Delver kind of no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's
if they
fair.
had one,
Yeah, there's no
and I
other
think
targets.
so. The only concern is
Is like a
so let's say they have
daze.
a row or something.
Mm-hmm.
I like holding up the force negation still.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing with the Oko, um, it's going to be worth 3 damage no matter what. Because next turn we can just play Oko and Dreadhorde Arcanist and attack 4/10. So even if Dreadhorde Arcanist we don't find a relevant spell for Dreadhorde Arcanist,
Mm-hmm.
we still have the ability to make it a relevant card.
Right.
Um,
Oh,
oh,
that's
they are
interesting.
Storm. That's what mean that. Okay, okay,
Okay. Well, yeah. For some reason, I put them into like some kind of like control deck.
that's what I did.
Yeah. Because they have such a slow hand. So let's see. Do we do anything here? We just wait. Like we
Oh
have five
man,
cards in
these are
hand.
the
Yeah.
decisions that are so hard. So they're dead on board. So they have to move no matter what.
Yeah.
If they have a Thoughtseize, we would lose, and if this is bait, then basically we would lose. But they're starting on Cabal Ritual and not Dark Ritual,
And they
and I
don't have
think if they
threshold.
had a Dark
So
Ritual,
I think
right.
we let this go. Like we just have to kind of.
So I'm actually leaning the other way because so okay, these are complicated situations. If they have Veil Summer, it doesn't matter what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just basically going to be able to stop that. If they have like Lotus Petal, LED, Cabal Ritual, Infernal Tutor in their hand after this, then forcing the Cabal Ritual is what's going to lose us the game.
Mm-hmm.
If they have Thoughtseize in hand, then not forcing the Cabal Ritual will lose us the game. And
Mm-hmm.
I think because they're not playing Dark Ritual first, they probably don't have. They probably have more Cabal Rituals in hand more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm inclined to think this isn't bait, and that they need this Cabal Ritual to resolve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm inclined to think that they have an Infernal Tutor and maybe they have a Thoughtseize. Because the
Mm-hmm.
reason they wouldn't Thoughtseize first is because they might be wanting to play around days. Because
Mm-hmm.
then they can resolve the Cabal Ritual, play around days, cast Thoughtseize.
They're definitely playing around days with this line. So
Yeah.
if they were playing around days, they would have played out their fast mana as well. So it doesn't seem like they have that.
So my inclination is to force, but it's not. I'm not passionate about it. So if you want to go the other way, I think that's totally fine.
Well, the thing is,
Uh,
there's like, what else? What's the follow up play that could kill us? Like, it would be an Infernal Tutor. Um,
yeah, so let's say Cabal Ritual doesn't resolve. What could be their 5 card hand that's going to beat us? They could have LED, LED, Lotus Petal, Infernal Tutor,
mm-hmm,
and that would give them enough mana to do something.
mm-hmm,
Like 2, 6, they'd have 6 mana in their pool after that.
mm-hmm.
Um, they could have Lotus Petal. Which, well, why would they have
Let's
Lotus Petal in their hand?
yeah. Let's go for the Force.
Okay.
I'll take full responsibility for this.
Yeah, I think, and again, if they have Veil, it doesn't matter what we do.
Yeah, if they have,
So
yeah, it could be, yeah. But I think it's like a 50-50 that's turned into like a 55 now that we thought about it a little bit more. Like, and the chances of them having 2 LEDs is like, and an Infernal Tutor is like the only line I can see where it's like, oh no, that beats us anyway, so we do have to force it. So
I think if we talk to Cyrus or
yeah, yeah, we
Cliffy,
probably I
then
can do the replay
they would
later and be
probably
like,
agree with our decision. I would
oh
guess
really?
that Cyrus or Cliffy would agree with that decision
Mm-hmm.
because I think the information we were using to deduce what's in their hand was overall like pretty good logic. If they had Dark Ritual, they would have started on that. So why are they starting on Cabal Ritual if they're not tight on mana? I think mana was their choke point.
So here's like cards that I would consider, and you may feel differently, but we can have a discussion around that. I just want to put that in a pile.
Okay.
Um,
I think Rough Tumble definitely
oh
needs to
really?
come in.
Okay, just for
Yeah,
goblins.
we gotta be empty to warrants.
Yeah,
It's not exciting. I generally agree with some of what you're bringing in. Actually, Sylvan Library.
maybe
I really
doesn't
only bring Sylvan Library in against like control decks.
against
It's
snow or
that's
something.
pretty much it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think the other surgical is probably worth bringing in as well. It's not a high value card, but it's fine.
Yeah,
It adds an extra element of
a little bit extra disruption. Yeah. And for all I know, they could also be Doomsday and stuff. That's actually a little bit better against Doomsday too.
So I think those 5 threats over there, the Okos and the Hooting Mandrills, I'm pretty happy cutting.
Oh really? You would cut Hooting Mandrills? That's really interesting. I thought it would be like a nice one mana threat. You know.
I think I can see leaving in 1, and I could even be coaxed into leaving in both. I don't think it's strictly right to leave them. Let's just go on the assumption that we leave in both right now and see what other cards we have to cut. Because the 8 we're bringing in, we're really happy with.
Yeah.
I tend to not cut a Wasteland in this matchup.
Or do you cut the basic island?
I would cut the basic island, definitely. Yeah, I don't think we need that.
Like if we didn't have basic island, I would cut a Wasteland. Sure, just go to 18. I think is fine.
Yeah, and I might even still want to cut a Wasteland, but I think leave them all in for now on the draw. I think that's fine.
Maybe cut another bolt. I think is fine.
Yeah, you could even cut one more bolt or one more Mandrill,
I mean,
or one more Wasteland.
yeah, they might have Xanthus Swarm or some crazy stuff, but I think we can live with this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I think in terms of time constraints, this is fine. The reason I cut a Wasteland, Cyrus and I have talked about this a little bit.
Especially on the draw, right?
He thinks you should never cut Wasteland. He thinks it's one of your best cards in the matchup. My stance on it is that their first 2 lands are so likely going to be Island Swamp that you're not going to be able to disrupt them with Wasteland until turn 3 or beyond. And at that point, it's not a very meaningful piece of disruption.
I think it's also a combination of like if they have Abrupt Decay, they kind of have to fetch suboptimally sometimes to be open to Wasteland, right? That's the thing too.
Right. They also have Veil these days, so their mana is a little bit more reliant on that.
I think this is actually a kind of a borderline mulligan for me on the draw.
I agree.
It's too many lands.
I think
it's clunky.
Yeah.
Daze and Spell Pierce can become dead if they play around it on the play. And we have no
think I like
cantrips.
mulliganing this.
Yeah.
I would mulligan this.
Okay, this is a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, but it's still not like amazing. But the question is, I think it's a keep, but it's just what do we bottom? I think we can probably bottom. It's kind of tricky. What are your thoughts on this?
It's definitely a keep, and I like bottoming either Wasteland or Arcanist because I think Melvon's our best card.
I would bottom Wasteland to be honest, maybe because we're on the draw.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think, and plus, I outlined my stance on Wasteland. I
Mhm.
think it's
Yep.
difficult to get value in
Yep.
the first few turns of the game.
It's kind of like
So
a very it's almost like Stifle, how we describe Stifle. Like it's a high floor, floor ceiling, high variance card in this matchup because like it's kind of like an opportunistic card where it's like it can be good, but it can also be dead.
right, like they're probably getting Swampier, and then we're just not going to do anything with our card.
Okay, well that's yeah, we're gonna have
Okay,
to.
well, I mean, this is okay because Spell
Yeah,
Pierce is still meaningful soft
it's
disruption.
interesting
They're
if they
probably
see if
just
they
a lot
grab
of
Brainstorm or Null Rod. Yeah. Or
yeah,
maybe Arcanist, but then
I could see a justification for almost any card
except
except
Spell
Arcanist.
Pierce.
Just actually no, except Arcanist
Okay.
because okay, so now I'm getting. I
Interesting.
don't know what to say after that
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
but
Maybe no. We should give our opponent the benefit of the doubt here. Okay, so they don't
definitely,
know we have
definitely.
Scalding Torrent, so we definitely not playing that. I think we just go Trop Pass, right?
Yep, I agree. So the reason I was going to say I don't understand the Arcanist is because the Null Rod is a little bit more impactful, even though Arcanist is a really good threat. Null Rod changes the way they have to
They
play a
might
lot.
have a second discard spell or heavy on discard. They want to overload us, so they think taking the Arcanist is like something they
Or
have
they
to do.
have an Abrupt Decay, and they're just picking one of the two cards that they're going to be Abrupt Decay.
There could be two. Yeah.
Yeah, so like if they them dots using Dread or Arcanist might as well have been Null Rod if they have an Abrupt Decay in hand, because then they'll just Abrupt Decay at end of turn.
I think they're firing off another discard spell.
That's what it looks like.
I think
Which
if
I'd be
they.
happy to spell piercing.
Oh, really? I'd be happy with like Brainstorm Hide, but maybe that's too
That's another
clunky.
option. I don't think it's wrong. The thing is, spell. As you said earlier, spell pierce they can play around that a lot more easily on the play. It's not guaranteed to get value, and if we tapped out for Null Rod on the following turn, we still wouldn't have spell pierce up.
If they combo out this turn, then we can't do anything anyway. So I think we actually spell pierce this, right? Because
Veil is a concern. Like they could veil,
mm-hmm.
And that wouldn't be great
But
for us.
that's also okay. It just means they're up a. Oh yeah, I see. Then they strip our other cards. So
yeah, they get on Null Rod or Brainstorm from there.
Mm-hmm.
If we Brainstorm, we could definitely protect our cards. Our hand isn't great if we Brainstorm and find like one more land.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're gonna have to keep a couple lands. We really want to get rid of some stuff.
Yeah.
But it seems somewhat likely that they would have Veil of Summer here.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I want to hold the Spell Pierce and want to cast.
If they have Veil, that also opens themselves up to Wasteland, but I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, I kind of like casting Brainstorm here to play around Veil.
Okay.
So I'm definitely come
You're right.
around to your position. It's very close to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like that wasn't great, but
the question is, what do we put back? Like I think we put back. I think we actually put back Force of Will, Null Rod, and just draw into Force of Will next turn, or is that too slow? Like they can't take Delver, so obviously we're gonna leave Delver. The question is, what do we expose ourselves to? It's actually very intricate here.
Yeah, this was basically my problem with the Brainstorm. This is
then we're slowing ourselves down. Yeah.
This is very interesting. I think I would say Null Rod is important enough that we probably want it above everything, and we also definitely want to shuffle away one of these lands. So we just have to choose if we want Force of Will or Null Rod. Let's keep.
They took the Arcanist, which makes it more likely they have a decay, right? But then if we play the Delver next turn, that's also something they have to start answering, or it gives us a clock.
Yeah, I think the Force of Will is probably worth a little bit more than Null Rod, just because of how this game is playing out. Because then we're gonna play Null Rod, and they still have 4 cards in hand.
So you don't think there's a world where we just put Null Rod and Force of Will back on top, and they just take the Spell Pierce?
They take the Spell Pierce, then what we do? Draw Force of Will, don't do anything, and then we draw land and we play Null Rod, and then our hand is land, Force of Will, Delver, and we have a Null Rod in play, so we don't have pressure and we have an extra land. I just think getting rid of the fetch land is important enough that we should probably do that.
I hope he's not.
Yeah.
Um,
I would put back a fetch land, and I would put Force Will on top. I don't know how correct this is, but our opponent
okay.
knows about the Null Rod,
Yeah,
so like
that information does
we
matter.
haven't given them any more information here. Like they have the same information they had. They'll probably take the Null Rod, and then we'll play Delver with Spell Pierce up and Force Will, but they don't know about this Force Will, so they might play around the Spell Pierce in the future, but not play around the Force Will.
Right.
So
yeah, that was a little bit of a long tank for us. I do.
Definitely, I think that was.
Yeah,
I think that was a very hard brainstorm.
Yeah. Okay, we're definitely fetching next turn. We know it's not a worth. It's a land. Yeah, I do develop bad habits from playing Magic Online since I started on Magic Online this year because paper events have come back in China, and so I do find myself
nice.
like taking a little bit longer sometimes in paper tournaments, which is like not that reasonable if you think about it. I think we do have to let this go. I think they're playing around Spell Pierce, and we just have to hope that they're gonna go all in at some point.
Yep, my guess is that this is basically what I would have guessed if you had to ask me.
If I would put my opponent thinking that like we put a counter on top because there's no reason why we would expose the Null Rod. Otherwise,
totally. They're most certainly going to be playing around. Football, I think, but they might not be able to totally safely. So
the thing is though, they couldn't have cast discard either because like we had the this is excellent.
Nice. That's really good.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we just get to like play the land, hold the force,
and we can actually hard cast negation if we want.
Yep. This is a great situation. We can definitely lose. The Storm's scary. I've lost.
Totally.
A lot, but
okay, that's interesting. I think we just force to negate it, right?
I would actually let it resolve, and because the 2 life changes the clock, and they're going to take one of our cards anyway.
Okay.
I think there's some justification to making your play. I just think if they were at 15, then I would probably like if it wasn't changing the clock, I wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have this Delver attacking for 3 is going to make things a little awkward.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That burns them. Like that shocks them. Yeah. Oh, that's actually a very good draw too.
Really good. Yep.
Okay, I think we're just gonna play it with the Trop to at least. Oh no,
actually, we're not gonna play the Delver at all.
Oh, we're not gonna play the Delver at all. Oh, because we can pitch it to Force, so we're gonna.
Because we have hardcast Force Negation and Force pitch Delver.
Got it.
So we have 2 counters.
Got it. Yeah, this is what happens when I go autopilot, or maybe just the day's gone on too long.
Legacy is also so hard. Like all of these decisions, like I've seen this play a million times. So this is just like to me, my mind is just like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah,
it's kind of my autopilot going on there. But when you think about it, it's just like, okay, you really have to stop for all these decisions to really question what's going on. It's really hard. Okay, that's something.
That is something. Hoping that they're on Doomsday or something. Abrupt Decay? Yeah, nothing we can do.
Yep, so, and now we would play Delver.
Now we play Delver, yeah.
Yeah, we do lose the double force, but
gotta start somewhere.
They lost the mana source to do that. I feel like their hand's not that great. Or at least like maybe they're not able to play around the force negation yet. We get a scry off the Delta. I don't think them playing the Delta here implies any more that they can kill us.
Yeah.
Because they had this amount of mana last turn, so they must have drawn the Delta.
Yeah, the Surgical is not going to be a high value card right now. And the question
is... This I would let resolve.
This you would let resolve. Okay.
Yeah, I it's just so cheap for them to do that. And if they
it could just be a bait. Okay, now this is interesting. There's nothing we can do here though. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, I still let this resolve. They're going to take one of our counter magic. We have Surgical to stop like to interact with Passion Flames.
Yep.
They might have to do it ad nauseum because what they have 2 mana, 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say
Two
their last
cards
cards are Infernal Tutor LED, then they'll have 5 mana, and that will allow them to cast Passion Flames, which we could hit the Dark Ritual and stop them from comboing,
Mm-hmm.
or they could cast ad nauseum, which
That
is not a big
looks
deal.
that looks to be empty the warrens, so that
Okay,
yep,
this is
that's
fine because if we transform this Delver, we're winning the race.
yep.
Um,
Okay, we don't know what's on top, so we just that is
Ponder,
an excellent
perfect.
card. We're gonna draw into it, right?
Yep, totally.
Okay, so now we're oh okay.
Oh, nice, they gave it to us.
Yeah, we did play a little bit slow, but that was an important brainstorm. So
Yeah, I do sometimes feel like bad when I'm doing these coaching sessions and like we're really working things out and taking a while, but
mhm. But on the other
it
hand, that is what the modal clock is, right? Like
right it is there for us to use, and it's as you said, you care more about like learning and talking things through rather than
mm-hmm.
necessarily the result. So I'm gonna personally just take my time and make sure we're going through everything. So
Yeah.
I like express my thoughts.
It's always tough because like it's always balancing, like our own self-centered or selfish desires. I mean, I'm speaking
Right.
about maybe life in general versus like the opponent, like it's probably getting late wherever they are and where you are as
Totally.
well. But how did you feel about the league in general? I think we kind of talked about it between rounds, but like what are your impressions of this experience going through it with me? Like cuz I know you played Delver like a million times and you're very good at it, but like anything that stood out for you in terms of like this being the coach or just the matchups,
Let me start by flipping the script. How about you tell me how you felt, because this is still, I'm still trying to help coach you, and I want to know what thoughts you had about
Yeah.
either what was happening in the games or the deck list or your decision making, and how at points it was different than mine, and if you felt like there's something you need to improve on or learn. Tell me about that first, and then we can talk about my thoughts.
I think there were definitely some key spots where I look at Delver like this. There's a lot of 50-50 decisions that initially seem like coin flip decisions. Like, I could pick A or B, and they probably are both uh, valid, right? There's not one that's
Right.
obviously worse than the other. But I think what was really helpful in this coaching session, especially in the Delver mirrors, was like there were spots where if you think about it a little bit more or used a little bit more experience to think about like what could they do based on what they think we have or what we're doing, that really pushed the edge a little bit more because like it sort of the decisions started becoming more like 55% correct or 52% correct or 60% correct based on that. And I think that's really important because like it is a deck of like incremental advantages. Like it's very rare that you're going to just blow out the opponent. Any opponent who's competent in Legacy. So that was a big thing for me. And yeah, so that's one thought. I don't know if you have any thoughts on my thought there.
No, I completely agree with your assessment. I think people perceive Delver to be kind of this like A plus B really linear focused deck that blows people out when it wins. Delver doesn't really work like that these days. That might have been true back in like 2011 or 12, but
Mm-hmm.
these days a lot of other cards are really powerful. Decks are really powerful. You're trying to, as you said, get these incremental advantages, and you're just trying to make enough of these 52% decisions that it's going to add up on turn 6 that you've made enough of them correct that now you're in the 70% winning position. And it's so rare that you're going to end up in 100% a winning position before the game's already over, because so many people can interact with you. So you are just trying to find these specific moments that, you can predict what they're going to do. You have your set of cards. You know what's going to be good or bad for you. You know what decisions your opponents have made, and you're trying to make educated guesses based on what they could have and how the game's going to play out based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely agree with your assessment on the Delver Mirror.
I think that's really holding me back as a Magic player in general, but maybe more specifically Legacy because I play Legacy the most. Is like I feel like I feel like the difference between going 1-4 in the league and 3-2 and 5-0 is actually not huge, especially when you
Agreed.
play decks like this. Even turbo depths, it's like you maybe make a wrong decision and next thing you know you're dead. Like that's really hard for me to internalize still. Like I don't I feel like I need like that's actually why I was seeking input from you and also like in the past other Delver players who I thought were better than I was, and I think objectively you guys have a lot more experience in a lot of spots, and so it it's like it's hard still because it feels like every one of these sessions I'm improving like 2%, but it's like it still takes time, and so that's actually kind of frustrating because maybe it's just I'm impatient with it. Like I definitely think this league today that we went 3-2 in probably would have been like a 2-3 if I did it on my own. But it's sure it's like one win difference, but it's still something that adds up over time. It's like anything in life. It's like incremental improvements. You have to be patient with it.
Right. I think the so Magic is a marathon. It's basically never a sprint, and the emphasis on a overly winning record to me is a little silly, and
Mm-hmm.
I understand why it can be frustrating to not get winning records at certain times because you're putting in time, you're putting in effort, and maybe you feel like you should be doing better based on your past experience and your knowledge and everything. But like as you said, the difference between a 1-4 and a 4-1 could honestly just be like three unlucky draws, or it can be three small decisions you didn't even realize you were making
Mm-hmm.
over the course of games. So the difference isn't huge. And I think the thing that's difficult is to not get upset or frustrated at that and just know it's for the greater like the betterment of knowledge in the future, because it's
Yeah.
not about whether you win now, it's about being able to learn enough to apply that lesson to the future to increase your ability to win the next time. So but that's very difficult, and Magic can be very frustrating at times when you're like, I feel like I'm making all these decisions correctly, I feel like I've learned, I've talked to people about this, and my results haven't changed. Magic is kind of cruel in that way, but I think that's part of what brings everybody back to Magic, because there's always something to learn. And I think the person who's thinking that they don't really have that much to learn in situations is really setting themselves pretty far back. You really have to start questioning everything at a certain point.
Yeah.
And I do this every few months. Legitimately, I'll just try to forget a lot of what I am assuming and
Mm.
just go into things at base level zero strategy. And I'm just like, okay, instead of just all these assumptions that I'm making, I feel like the assumptions I'm making are leading me to not being as good of a, like, not win as much, or not, lead to a comfortable situation in terms of my Magic playing. So I'll just
Mm-hmm.
be like, you know what, let me go back to fundamentals and just be like, okay, why am I playing this Delver on turn one? Am I thinking about doing this? And I just start to question things, and then I answer it. It's kind of like I'm coaching myself in a way.
Mm. That takes a lot of discipline. It's honestly sounds pretty hard to do.
It is. It definitely is. Um, but like, to me, it's just Magic is about that learning process, and I hate when it becomes about the winning for me, because
Mm.
like I like winning. Winning's great. In some ways I'm a spike, but like I really want to make sure when I'm playing Magic, I'm always learning. That's why when we made that play against the Chalice player, and I talked about the fact that we could have done something different on turn one. It's not because it's only because discussing that to such an extreme is my way of trying to get as much information out of it as possible, so I can
Mm.
learn a little bit more for the future.
Mm.
So that's just generally my approach. And that's kind of what I'm trying to help people with coaching, because I think that kind of deliberation can be very useful, even if my knowledge base isn't, it's of course not infinite. I'm not the best Magic player, I'm not the smartest Magic player, but I am an inquisitive Magic player. So, and
Right.
I think that kind of thing can really help other people, and I think I can help other
I
people.
think what you
So,
said, like just in the macro, but also in the micro, turn by turn. Like think about why, right? Like why
Right.
should I be doing this, and also why are they doing that?
Totally. Yeah. I think that's the simplest piece of advice because I've played so many, not even just Magic, but just games in general, where people just assume their opponents are NPCs and they just assume,
Yeah,
the decisions they make are because they're stupid. They'll be like, "Oh, what an idiot! They made this play," but it's
right,
like, no, they're not an idiot. They're making that for a reason, and
right.
maybe that reason isn't great, but it doesn't. They're still making it for a reason. So let's figure that out.
You
You
always have
know,
to figure out that, because even if they're making things that in your opinion are less than optimal, like that does lead them to play in a certain way, and you need to understand that too.
totally.
Yeah.
Definitely, and you
Um
can and you can learn from their decisions. Even if their decision looks weird, you can be like, "Oh, why'd they do that? Oh, that's interesting. That's a perspective I haven't considered. Let me consider that next time and apply that."
yeah.
So,
Um are there things as a coach that you noticed about how I was playing or thinking about things that maybe can be improved or looked at differently?
I think you tended to consider things that I wasn't necessarily considering, and so there were a couple times when,
Oh, like the hooting mandrills off the ponder or something, right? It was something like too
so
far in the future. Yeah.
I think the clearest example of this I have is when they cast a Delver of Secrets for the Polluted Delta up, and you had a daze, and you considered dazing it. And I think that's very
Oh, like
it
the automatic, like I'll do it just because I can do it instead of like,
right,
okay.
right. Like I think maybe I noticed you were playing spells a little bit more haphazardly
Mm.
than I would have. Like, okay, I'm just gonna cast this spell here because it's gonna use my mana. I'm just gonna, do this. And I think that kind of uh, choice is definitely something that you can maybe tighten a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe just be more not conservative, but conscious about what you're getting out of your
How
opponent.
can I
Maybe
squeeze
that's
max value out of all my cards, right?
right. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, I think most of your decision making was definitely solid decision making. Maybe at certain points you ended up on a different perspective than me, or like you ended up on a different conclusion. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. Um, but I also do think that, and this comes up with basically everyone I talk to. I think you could benefit from trying to think in your opponent's seat a little bit more.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's a big,
yeah,
big, big. I will be the first to admit that. Like it's a big hole in my game, and I think that's also one of the reasons I feel like I've plateaued a little bit. Is like I'm still doing like the level one. Like what are my plays? You know.
right. I think that's a lot of people default to that, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Like you're going to win a decent amount of games just doing that. But I think once you start considering your opponent's perspective, it's kind of like a life lesson. Once you start thinking of things in terms of like how other people would feel or how
Mm-hmm.
what's leading them to make their decisions, you can really start to understand and paint a picture of what the game's going to look like and what's in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
The amount when our opponents like cast spells, and it's like, okay, what information can we deduce from the fact that they put the Cabal Ritual on this deck? And then you're just like, well, why did they cast the Cabal Ritual now? Why didn't they cast it a turn earlier?
Yeah.
What could possibly be going on? They pondered, they shuffled, they played a land. So just that kind of stuff. I think that could really help, and I think you're aware of that going on. So I think maybe just take
Just
like
keep working
one
on it. Yeah.
extra step. Yeah, just keep working on it. It just comes with practice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it would be a huge boon to your game. So
There's also another thing that I feel like you're very strong at, and I need to work on. I think there are some games where it didn't really come up today, but it kind of did. It didn't really come up because you were helping me. For example, that smokestack game. I feel like two things, right? One, I wouldn't have thought about like how to induce my opponent to add a counter or try to get rid of their own smokestack, right?
mhm.
Thinking ahead. But also, two, I feel like if I was playing on my own and it was like a long day or whatever, I make an excuse for myself. Like, I would just be mentally fatigued from seeing that they're so far ahead in that game one that I would just be like, oh, I'm just gonna lose now, so I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna think through everything, because I feel like that's very admirable about you, Rich. Is that when I see you play on your streams, like there are situations, even the one you did with Phil, like there are situations where like you're far behind as the pilot, but you still like will yourself to be like, how do I win this game? Whereas like sometimes I'm already thinking about like I'm losing this game, so how do I like let's just think about the next game, And that's like a tough lesson that I need to learn is like how to be always in the moment, even when it seems like the odds are really because like we came back from that game, we actually won that game, but I wouldn't have done that on my own honestly today. So
Yeah, I think that comes from a couple of things of my game, some of which is a little easier for me to help transfer onto other people. I am really good at, well, maybe not really good, but I think I'm pretty solid at figuring out what outs are in different situations.
yeah.
Like, okay, here's the three things that need to go right. Here's the image of the game when I'm winning. How do I get to that point?
Yep.
And I'm good at playing that out. And the other thing is it's a little bit harder to um, kind of share with people, but I think I have a good mental fortitude in the game.
Mm.
I don't bring anything outside of the game into the game. Once I'm in
Mm.
there, I'm really focused in it, and I
Mm.
also don't really tilt. Tilt isn't really stuff like a few, like maybe 5 years ago, I would experience it a little bit more, but these days I don't really get upset when things
Do you
go
think that's
forward.
like part of your like grinder experience, like playing SCGs and things like that? Because I do find commonalities between you and folks like Jarvis Yu or like Brian Cook. Like you guys are very strong mentally. It's like you don't honestly you don't really crack like at all, even if it's been a long day or something. Because I've not seen you, but I've seen them play like day twos of GPs or SCGs or whatnot. Like, is it partly from there, or am I just like false associating that?
I think that has something to do with it. I actually don't grind even when I could grind tournaments. I don't play that many paper tournaments, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Usually I can fit like 6 big events in a year or something like that. So
Yeah,
I don't
that's
play that
less than
many.
the average SCG grinder, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think as far as tilting goes, and maybe just the mental game overall, it was a few years ago where I realized there was something I needed to focus on, and I think uh, I don't like saying so many things in a row that like, oh, this is the things they're good at, but I am pretty
No, I
self-aware.
think you should be objective. I think objectively you're above average in many categories in Magic. So I don't take any negativity towards what you're gonna say. So
I think I'm pretty self-aware, and I realized a few years ago that my mental game was going to be a really important part of my ability to succeed in Magic,
yeah.
and I really wanted to make sure when I'm playing games that I don't really get bothered by either something that I got a little unlucky or something going poorly or my opponent drawing well,
Mm-hmm.
and I've just kind of refined that after playing a lot of games in a row, and it really helped a lot, not only in Magic but in life. Like not tilting is a really
Yeah.
nice thing. I also feel like I experience emotion a little differently than other people, but that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Um,
That might be a future Humans and Magic episode. That's like
yeah,
something else.
maybe.
Yeah.
Um, there was one other thing I was gonna say, but I don't
Is
remember
it
it
is it
anymore.
about mental toughness or not tilting?
It might be, but it's totally lost my mind. So,
Okay.
nevertheless, if I remember it and it's relevant for me to tell you, I'll shoot you a message.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you so much again, Rich. I feel like you've already given me a lot of food for thought. I tend to do a lot more like watching replays now of my own matches too, just to
Oh,
see
nice.
things. And sometimes I'll tweet about them on Twitter, just like a fast forwarded version. So like those are kind of fun
Yeah, I
too.
see those. Those are good.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoy these kind of little things. Like honestly, it's a lot more fun than just like endlessly grinding leagues. Because there's a little bit of diminishing returns. But yeah, thank you again. I would very much like to do this again at some point in the future if you're up for it.
Yeah, anytime. Just shoot me a message. Whenever we're both free, and we can definitely work something out.
Awesome. Okay, well, have a great one, and I'm sure people will get something out of this video.
I hope so. So.